Chapter 322. Therefore, before the news of Wen Jingping trampling on her peers was over, a bunch of so-called insiders appeared one after another. They started to reveal the identities of the three protagonists in the report, as well as the love and hate between the three in the video. The onlookers dropped their jaws. Although the blogger has tried her best to explain the relationship between the three in a subtle and objective way, the man dated the second female lead when he was still engaged to the first female lead. He even took advantage of his father's birthday to ask the first female lead to break off their engagement in front of countless guests. He even pushed the first female lead down the stairs during the argument and sent her to the hospital. In summary, isn't it just a scumbag cheating mistress who spoils his concubine and neglects his wife? So this White Lotus is a mistress? Thank you to the class representative above. I knew there was nothing wrong with the blogger's description, but I kept feeling that something was off. I instantly felt that the man was a scumbag and the second female lead was a whore. I feel sorry for the first female lead. No wonder in the previous video, the second female lead pretended to apologize to the first female lead. When the first female lead asked her what she was sorry for, the second female lead immediately changed the topic. As a mistress, of course, she was embarrassed to say it in public. If she said it out loud, she would be scolded to death. She was embarrassed? If she was really embarrassed, she wouldn't have been a mistress. She didn't say it because she wanted people to think that she was the victim and lead the public to blame the first female lead. The funniest thing was that she actually accused the first female lead of taking revenge for a personal grudge and deliberately harmed her. Even if the first female lead harmed her, she deserved it. Not to mention that the other party didn't harm her at all. She's not capable enough, but she still wants to smear others to clear her name. What kind of a venomous woman is this? It's really chilling. When Hua Xiaofeng received Wen Jingping's call for help, public opinion had already pinned him, and Wen Jingping on the pillar of shame as a scumbag and a mistress. Hua Xiaofeng had never suffered such humiliation in his life. He immediately hired a group of internet trolls to argue with this group of people. The internet trolls' strategy to clear their name was simple. They simply thought that the two of them were originally in a business marriage and had no feelings for each other. The man met his true love and broke off the engagement to pursue her bravely. There was nothing wrong with that. Otherwise, it was just like what Su Yiyan had predicted. The man didn't want the first female lead and wanted the second female lead instead. There must be something wrong with the first female lead that even her man couldn't stand it. She deserved to be cheated on. Such a whitewashing statement was, of course, rebuked. A business marriage should have integrity. Don't blame others for taking revenge on you. Seeing that this was not going to work, the fake reviewers turned to quibble that Hua Xiaofeng was daring enough to pursue true love. Of to us of the. Do you think the whole world revolves around you now that you're the one who's talking? Su Yiyan couldn't help but burst out laughing when she saw this. She secretly sighed that some netizens were quite talented. They could always hit the nail on the head and hit the nail on the head. Just as she was about to continue watching these sources of happiness, the screen changed. Ling Xiaoqi's call request popped up. Su Yiyan didn't think much about it and picked it up. She heard her best friend's heart-wrenching roar as soon as the call connected. Yiyan now? Immediately. Immediately. Come and pick up your little bastard. If you're late, I can't guarantee that you'll see him alive. Chapter 323. Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before she reacted. She opened her mouth and was about to say something, but Ling Xiaoqi had already hung up. Hung up. So, what was she trying to do? Su Yiyan was dumbfounded. When Hua Chenhuan walked down the stairs, he saw his wife standing there in a daze. Her face was blank and inexplicably adorable. What's wrong? Su Yiyan woke up from a dream and said with a bitter face, Xiaoqi just called me and asked me to bring Dundun back now. If I'm late, I might not be able to see it alive. What did Dundun do to make her so angry? How would I know? She just said one sentence and hung up. Su Yiyan thought for a moment. Could it be that Dundun was too naughty and tore down her house? Haven't you thought it might have something to do with Hua Hua? What can it have to do with Hua Hua? Su Yiyan stopped abruptly and turned to stare at Hua Chenhuan. A few seconds later, Su Yiyan could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. She shouted outside the courtyard, "Uncle Zhang, prepare the car." It was originally Zui Yanbai who stayed at the old mansion to take care of Hua Chenhuan today. But Hua Chenhuan had something to ask him to do, so Yu Zian came over. Along the way, Su Yiyan urged Yu Zian several times as if she was on fire. Yu Zian didn't feel annoyed. He only found it funny. "Don't be nervous, young madam. Miss Ling is your best friend. She won't do anything to Dundun even if she's angry." "You don't understand." Su Yiyan sighed. "Xiaoqi might be gentle and soft, but if she's really pissed off, no one can stop her." Su Yiyan held Hua Chenhuan's hand tightly and said sadly, "I'm really worried that if we're late, she'll really stew Dundun into dog meat hot pot in her anger." Dog hot pot? As soon as Hua Chenhuan heard the word hot pot, she subconsciously thought of the hot pot Su Yiyan had made before and asked in a low voice, "Is it delicious?" Su Yiyan. "Darling, wake up. That's our cub." Yu Zian. Although he was also very curious about this question, "Young master, to ask this question in front of young madam." A group of people rushed to Ling Xiaoqi's house full of worries. Before they entered the door, they heard Ling Xiaoqi's angry roar, "Stop, stop, stop, don't come over. If you dare to come closer, I will kill you." Do you know what kacha means? It means. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched when he heard this, and he couldn't continue listening. He opened the door and rushed in. Okay, we're here. If there's anything, let's talk about it face to face and solve it face to face. Don't scare it." "You're here?" Ling Xiaoqi was stunned when she saw Su Yiyan. After she reacted, she hurriedly carried her Huahua a few meters away from them. "You came at the right time. Take this little bastard away. Take him away." Su Yiyan glanced at Dundun, who had a full beard and tail, and heaved a sigh of relief. He picked it up from the ground. Dundun saw that its owner had come and cried out aggrievedly. It nestled in Su Yiyan's arms and looked at the Huahua in Ling Xiaoqi's arms. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly, and he said helplessly, "What happened? This little guy." It would have been better if Su Yiyan hadn't said anything. Ling Xiaoqi almost exploded on the spot when she heard this. "This little bastard, it." Ling Xiaoqi couldn't say anything for a long time. Su Yiyan frowned and said tentatively, "It completed the great harmony of life with the Huahua." Chapter 324. Ling Xiaoqi, Hua Chenhuan and Yu Zian, who were following closely behind. What kind of great harmony was this? Ling Xiaoqi was thunderstruck by this description. It took her a few seconds to react, and she burst into tears on the spot. "Sob, sob, sob, my poor child. From now on, you're no longer the pure and innocent you from before." Su Yiyan, Hua Chenhuan. It turned out that Dundun had followed Ling Xiaoqi home for the past 2 days. Although it liked to hang out with Huahua at first, it was still well behaved. In addition, Huahua was stronger than it, so even if it had any ulterior motives, it would be suppressed in a matter of minutes. Ling Xiaoqi initially guarded against it, and didn't let it get too close to Huahua. Especially at night, it was basically locked in one room each. No matter how much Dundun scratched the door, it wouldn't easily let a wolf into the house. Ling Xiaoqi woke up early this morning. She was really sleepy in the afternoon, so she went into the bedroom to take a nap. Unexpectedly, when she woke up and walked out of the room, she saw, "I saw this little bastard riding on top of our Huahua." Ling Xiaoqi still felt stifled when she recalled the scene. If looks could kill, then this lustful, short-legged brat would have been killed 1,000,000 times over by her. Su Yiyan also didn't expect that her silly dog would have such dumb luck. It actually succeeded. She immediately hugged Dundun and kissed it. She praised it sincerely, "Well done." Yu Zian. Hua Chenhuan, Su Yiyan. Ling Xiaoqi completely exploded. Su Yiyan's expression stiffened. She smiled awkwardly and said, "It's its fault. It's all its fault. How could you do this without permission? Are you a little hooligan? You're too impulsive. What did I teach you before? No matter who it is, you can't do this to anyone. You've really disappointed me." Dundun. How could you be a coward at such a critical moment? Dundun, who was betrayed by its owner, could only turn around and look at its dog father. Hua Chenhuan received its pleading gaze, but silently looked away and pretended not to see anything. Dun dun. Didn't we agree to be each other's angels? How could you ignore me at a time like this? Of course it's its fault. Otherwise, is it our Huahua's fault? Su Yian's good apology made Ling Xiaoqi's anger subside a little. But when he thought that from today onwards, his own child would no longer be a virgin, he still felt incomparably stifled. It's a pity that our Huahua is still a baby. To think that she has to encounter such a thing. What if she gets pregnant? Why is our Huahua's life so hard? Me too. How could I have been so soft-hearted and brought it back? I knew it was a troublesome little bastard, but I still brought it back. I really brought a wolf into the house. I regret it so much. Ling Xiaoqi's face turned pale. She seemed to have imagined the terrible future. She looked at Su Yiyan and Su Yiyan with resentment. Therefore, in the next 10 minutes or so, Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan experienced in advance the terrible experience of their brats falling in love at such a young age and impregnating the girl's belly. It was a terrible experience of causing the girl's parents to fall in love with her and lose all their face. Yu Zian stood at the door and looked at the two high-spirited people who no one dared to look down on. However, when they were red, they lowered their heads in shame and repented. Not only did he not feel the slightest bit of sympathy, he even felt a little amused. Chapter 325. Although Ling Xiaoqi was angry, she knew that what was done could not be undone. What was done had been done. After grumbling for a long time and venting the anger in his heart, he gave up and sighed. Forget it, forget it. I overreacted a little. You can take it back. Su Yiyan was relieved to see that she had calmed down. He threw Dundun into Hua Chenhuan's arms and quickly stepped forward to hold Ling Xiaoqi's hand. Dundun was indeed in the wrong, but what's done can't be undone. There's no point in dwelling on this, right? They know each other very well. And our Dundun likes Huahua so much. Huahua is also very protective of our Dundun. Isn't this a good thing? Ling Xiaoqi was a little angry when she heard this. She snorted and said, Your Zai is a male, so of course you'd say that. If we really want to talk about this, our Huahua is the one who's taken advantage of, okay? What's so good about it? At the end of the day, you're just lusting after its body. Men really are all bad. The two men present were speechless. It was fine that they usually took the blame for those scumbags who had no bottom line. After all, they were still a species. Now this little b** starred of a different species caused trouble. Why did it have to be them as well? It was so hard to be a man. Su Yiyan was also a little amused by Ling Xiaoqi's indiscriminate attack. However, he also knew that this was not the time to argue with her. He had to appease her. Thus he agreed. Yes, yes, yes. Men are all bad. Yu Zian, who was standing at the door and watching the show with relish, narrowed his eyes and glanced stiffly at his young master. Seeing that his expression did not change, but there seemed to be an inexplicable dangerous atmosphere around him, he silently lit a candle for Su Yiyan in his heart. Su Yiyan finally managed to pacify Ling Xiaoqi, so he didn't want to agitate her by putting Dundun in her house, so he brought the troublesome dog back home. Before he left, Dundun wailed a few times in an attempt to arouse the sympathy of his beloved and her master. Unfortunately, Ling Xiaoqi was still angry, and Huahua seemed to be on its master's side unconditionally. It didn't even look at Ling Xiaoqi. All right, don't look like an abandoned husband. Su Yiyan rubbed the back of Dundun's furry neck and smiled helplessly. You're really brave. You've only been at someone's house for 2 days and you dare to bully their dog. Luckily, Xiaoqi has a good temper. If it were me, I would have thrown you out long ago to fend for you. Dundun wailed and looked at Su Yiyan with incomparable resentment. It didn't forget someone's betrayal just now. Su Yiyan saw that it didn't have any remorse, so he narrowed his eyes and said maliciously, I suddenly remembered that in this weather, dog meat hot pot is the best. It dispels the cold and nourishes the body. Why don't we eat this tonight? Woof. Dundun sensed the danger keenly and screamed, its eyes full of complaints. Su Yiyan was angry and amused. He reached out and patted the head of this dramatic dog. Now you know how to be afraid? If we didn't come quickly just now, I'm afraid you would have become Xiaoqi's meal now. Dundun wailed a few more times miserably. It lay in Su Yiyan's arms and mourned its quickly passing love. It was like a little old man who had experienced thousands of sales. Su Yiyan let it be sad and sighed helplessly. As soon as he turned his head, he met Hu Chenhuan's teasing eyes. Are there no good men? Su Yiyan. I'm not, I can explain. Chapter 326. Su Yiyan laughed dryly and said with a fawning expression, Xiaoqi's situation is special, so she will occasionally be a little sexist. Don't take it to heart. Hu Chenhuan was not so easy to fool. I only take your words to heart. You said that there are no good men. I had no choice but to agree with her. Really? Su Yiyan looked at Hu Chenhuan's face, carefully pulled his sleeve and tentatively asked, Are you angry? Hu Chenhuan was really not angry. As Su Yiyan said, she had no choice but to agree with her just now. She was not really dissatisfied with him, so he would not be angry because of this. But when he heard Su Yiyan ask him softly if he was angry, and her tone was full of nervousness and fawning, Hu Chenhuan's eyes darkened slightly, and he admitted shamelessly, yes. Are you really angry? Su Yiyan immediately moved closer. Don't be angry. I promise I won't say that again. Hu Chenhuan's expression did not change, and he did not speak. Su Yiyan blinked and continued to probe. Then what should I do to make you not angry? Hu Chenhuan still did not speak and just stared at her. What did this mean? Su Yiyan frowned and thought for a moment. Finally, she gritted her teeth and leaned over to kiss Hu Chenhuan's lips in front of Yuzian. A light flashed in Hu Chenhuan's eyes, but the expression on his face still did not change. Su Yiyan's heart skipped a beat when she saw this. Could it be that she was wrong? Even this method didn't work? Before she could think more, she heard Hu Chenhuan say unsatisfactorily, Just once? Su Yiyan, Yuzian, who thought he had misheard. Su Yiyan did not know whether to laugh or cry, but he also breathed a sigh of relief and said without any pressure, Then let's kiss a few more times. After saying that, she took the initiative to lean over and kiss him a few more times. Every time, it was a kiss on the lips. Yuzian, who had been bullied for no reason, was speechless. Hey, that's enough. Don't bully a single dog like this. Dundun, who was still in Su Yiyan's arms. That's enough. Was this really appropriate in front of a lovelorn dog that had just been heartbroken? Dundun, who had just been brought back, once again had the idea of running away from home. This heartless world had truly broken its heart. Su Yiyan kissed her several times before stopping. He smiled and said, You're not angry anymore? Yes. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. Then, as if he had thought of something, he stared into Hu Chenhuan's eyes and said with a faint smile, You are indeed not a good person. Yuzian, who had thought that this matter was finally over. Young madam, are you crazy? You finally managed to coax him. And now you're saying this again? Are you planning to coax him again? Hu Chenhuan was stunned. He thought that Su Yiyan had sensed that he was pretending to be angry and had angered her instead. Just as he was about to explain, he heard Su Yiyan say, You are a good husband. Yuzian was speechless. Do you guys like to take such long pauses when talking? A faint blush flashed across Hu Chenhuan's face. Although he didn't say anything, Su Yiyan could see the pure joy in his eyes. He was really easy to coax. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh. However, she slowly reached out and took the initiative to hold Hu Chenhuan's hand. Although these words were said to coax him, they were also from the bottom of her heart. In her eyes, there was no better husband in the world than Hu Chenhuan. And in the future, if they could have children of their own, he would definitely be the best father in the world. Chapter 327. Su Yiyan and the others picked up the troublemaker Zai Zai and went home. The atmosphere was warm and loving. On the other hand, Hua Xiaofeng was not so lucky. This time, Su Yiyan was determined to make Hua Xiaofeng and Su Yiyan suffer. Even if she could not make them fall into eternal damnation, she wanted to teach them a lesson. Didn't Hua Xiaofeng buy the Internet Water Army? They bought it too. Hua Xiaofeng and the others were not in the right to begin with. Once Su Yiyan's Internet Water Army bought the Internet Water Army, they attacked them directly. Their sarcasm and ridicule were 10 times, no 100 times more interesting than the Internet Water Armies. In just half a day, the Internet Water Army was defeated by the Internet Water Army with the help of passers-by. It was worth mentioning that the ones who contributed the most were not Internet Water Army or passers-by, but Wen Jingping's male fans. These people were once attracted by Wen Jingping's face and her gentle personality. They fought for her at the forefront of the anti-defamation campaign. However, all of this was based on the premise that Wen Jingping was single, and everything she showed was real. Now these people realized that everything they thought was fake. Her being single was fake, and this woman's so-called gentleness and kindness was also fake. Other than her face, everything else about her in front of the camera was fake. They hated her now as much as they liked her in the past. Her existence was a constant reminder of their past stupidity. Hua Xiaofeng looked at the screen full of mockery and curses. His face was gloomy to the extreme. His resentment toward Su Yiyan and the Su family reached its peak. Even now, he still did not feel that what he did in the past was wrong. He just liked a woman and did not want to accept his family's arrangement to marry a woman he did not like. Why did everyone have to go against him? Compared to Hua Xiaofeng, who was full of anger, Wen Jingping was more terrified when she saw these comments. Mistress? Why did everyone treat her as a mistress? She was not a mistress. She and Hua Xiaofeng were clearly in love with each other. Why did she call them a scumbag, a slut, and a two-timing mistress? This was completely different from the perfect love between Cinderella and the prince that she had imagined in her mind. Weren't the fiancés of the male protagonists in romance novels all vicious female supporting characters who would eventually be condemned as cannon fodder? Their marriage was just a business alliance. There was no emotional foundation. She was Hua Xiaofeng's true love. How could these people scold her without knowing anything? She didn't do anything wrong. It had to be said that from a certain point of view, these two people could be considered a perfect match. How similar were their perspectives when thinking about problems? However, now that things had escalated to this point, it was no longer something they could control. Hua Xiaofeng looked at Wen Jingping's deathly pale face and thought of how she had risked her life to save his life a few days ago. His heart softened and he comforted her softly. It's okay, it's okay. These people are just jealous of us. Their words are clear and logical, but if they really meet us, they may be even more resolute than us. Moreover, don't be fooled by how fiercely they are scolding us now. After a few days, they will definitely forget about it. It was originally something that had nothing to do with them. They will just talk about it and forget about it the moment they turn around. Really? Wen Jingping looked at Hua Xiaofeng with reddened eyes. She had lived 2 lives, but she was not as naive as Hua Xiaofeng. Perhaps Hua Xiaofeng's words were not without reason. These people who were following the trend and scolding them now would soon forget about this matter. However, the internet had memories. For those who did not like her, if she did not handle this matter well, it would be a stain on her life. Chapter 328. Wen Jingping was ambitious and wanted to be the best. Naturally, she would not allow such a deadly dark history to exist. But I feel bad when I see them scolding you like this, especially when they're not only scolding you but also your parents. I'm afraid that your parents will have a bad impression of me because of this. They won't. Hua Xiaofeng subconsciously wanted to refute, but as soon as the words left his mouth, he remembered the scene of his mother scolding him in the hospital that day. His expression immediately became subtle. We can't let them continue scolding you like this. When Wen Jingping saw that he was persuaded by her, she quickly added, if things go wrong, it might affect the company. Do you want to ask Uncle in advance and see if he has any other ideas? Hua Xiaofeng was young after all. In addition, he had been spoiled since he was a child and had not had much experience in life. He basically went down the wrong path without any direction. Wen Jingping hoped that Hua Xiaofeng's father would be better than him and help the two of them settle this matter. Hua Xiaofeng heard Wen Jingping's words and felt that they made sense. He immediately called Hua Qihan. The two of them had placed all their hopes on Hua Qihan, But they did not know that Wuxia could not even protect himself at this time. A few hours ago, the Hua Corporation had spent a lot of effort to acquire an investment site. Suddenly, the site of a suspected colony of extinct creatures was unearthed. This matter was comparable to the ancient Earth's imperial palace being excavated. Not long after the news broke, geological experts from all over the world rushed over. As early as when humans found this habitable planet with great difficulty, many people were very curious. This habitable planet was rich in resources, but they had not seen the existence of human-like beings. Was this a primitive planet that had never been developed before? If it wasn't, then had it experienced the same changes of eras as Earth before this? Before that, what occupied the top of the food chain? Many biogeologists stubbornly believed that exploring these things could better determine the future direction of human development, so that this beautiful habitable planet would not repeat the mistakes of ancient Earth. Therefore, once this matter was exposed, it immediately received widespread attention. The original construction team had to temporarily stop work and wait for follow-up inspection and confirmation. Wuxia's face was as black as the bottom of a pot when he heard this. He swept all the documents on his desk on the spot. Who is in charge of this land? Didn't you ask someone to do an on-site inspection before writing a plan to buy land? Why are these things dug out from the ground? The secretary, who was forced to bear the brunt of his boss's anger, stood on the side with a pale face. After a while he said in a trembling voice, "The person in charge of this land seems to be Captain Hua." Wuxia's eyes narrowed slightly. Only then did he remember that when Hua Xiaofeng first entered the company's senior management had questioned his ability. After all, Wuxia only had one son. Naturally, he couldn't bear to see others criticize him, so he handed over an important project in the company to him. He asked him to focus on inspecting a few pieces of land, make an evaluation report based on the results of the inspection, and finally decide on a piece of land as the cornerstone of the project. After all, this was his son's first performance result after entering the company. Although Wuxia helped guide him, he couldn't do too much on the surface. Otherwise, even if it was really done in the end in the eyes of others, he would be the one who opened the door for his son and not Hua Xiaofeng's own ability. Chapter 329. Therefore, except for some guidance in the early stages, Wuxia did not show up from beginning to end. Hua Xiaofeng was in charge of the field inspection and survey of those lands. After reading the evaluation report he handed over, Wuxia also secretly checked the competitors participating in the bidding out of caution. He found that many big companies were also very optimistic about this piece of land, and were trying their best to win it. Naturally, he thought that this land did indeed have great development prospects. When he learned that Hua Xiaofeng had won this land, he was happy for a long time. He felt that his son could win against those old foxes and give him a lot of face. But now, Wuxia wished he could go back in time and stab this scourge to death. Then he would stab himself to death. Where's Hua Xiaofeng? He made such a big mistake. Where is he now? Wuxia slammed the table loudly. As his father, you don't even know where he is. How would I know? The secretary silently complained in his heart, but he said, Team leader Hua took sick leave 2 days ago and has not returned to cancel his leave. He is not in the company for the time being. When Wuxia heard the word sick leave, he immediately thought of the terrible things Hua Xiaofeng had done 2 days ago, and became even angrier. Contact him right now and ask him to come to the company. If he doesn't come, he doesn't have to come for the rest of his life. Okay, I'll go right away. When the secretary heard this, he felt as if he had been granted amnesty. He turned around and was about to run out when Wuxia's cell phone rang. Seeing the caller ID on the screen, Wuxia frowned slightly and shouted, Wait, you don't have to go. He called me. Wuxia thought that Hua Xiaofeng had seen the news and knew that something big had happened in the company. Only then did he remember to call him. Unexpectedly, as soon as the call was connected, Hua Xiaofeng took the initiative to explain the ins and outs of the matter, and begged his father to help clean up the mess. If this had happened under normal circumstances, Wuxia might have been angry, but he might have helped him clean up the mess. But it was different now. Hua Qihan's mind went blank when he heard his son's words. What did you say? You took that woman to Su Yiyan, and your previous engagement with her was exposed. Now everyone is scolding you and that woman? Hua Xiaofeng did not realize that something was wrong. He only thought that Hua Qihan was angered by the curses he had just said, so he quickly added fuel to the fire. Yes, Dad, you don't know how vicious that B*TCH Su Yiyan is. She insulted little Ping inside and out in front of everyone. And she even got someone to record it and post it on the internet, causing others to dig up all our secrets. It's fine if a lot of people are scolding me and little Ping, but now they're scolding you and my mom. Hua Qihan was so angry that he almost fell back. Is there something wrong with your brain? Don't you know how much the Su family hates you and that B*TCH beside you after the engagement was called off? You even insisted on bringing people to the Su family. If they don't insult you, do you think they'll flatter you nicely? Hua Xiaofeng did not expect Hua Qihan to have such a reaction. He was stunned for a few seconds and became angry. He said unhappily, Dad, how can you speak for that bitch? It's obviously that bitch who went too far. Hua Xiaofeng was still cursing on the other end. Hua Qihan was so angry that his whole body was trembling. His vision turned black. Finally, his body swayed and he fell back. President? President. Someone, the president fainted. Call an ambulance. Chapter 330. The secretary's heart-wrenching roar resounded throughout the Hua Corporation building, and the president's office was instantly in chaos. At the same time, Su Yiyan's mind rang with the system's notification again. Congratulations to the host for snatching the female protagonist's golden finger. Progress +10. Current progress 30. Victory is in sight. Please keep up the good work. Su Yiyan was slightly stunned, her face full of surprise and confusion. What happened? Why did it add another 10 points? The host can search for ancient creature ruins discovered at Hua Corporation's construction site. Ancient creature ruins? Su Yiyan was even more surprised and quickly searched for the news according to the system's instructions. Sure enough, this news was already at the top of the trending news list, and it was all red. Ancient creature ruins discovered at Hua Corporation's construction site? Doesn't that mean their project has to be suspended? What were they planning to do with this land? To develop real estate, and they have already invested a lot of money in the initial investment. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and gloated. So Hua Qihan is in trouble? According to my understanding, the main person in charge of this project is the male lead, Hua Xiaofeng. Hua Xiaofeng is in charge of this project? Su Yiyan was shocked again. In her opinion, Hua Xiaofeng was a nobody who despised dogs. Hua Qihan had actually given him full responsibility for such an important project. He must have lost his mind. If this matter was blown up, the Hua Corporation would definitely suffer heavy losses. As the main person in charge, Hua Xiaofeng could not absolve himself from the blame. As the company's president, Hua Qihan could not escape responsibility no matter who was involved in this matter. Not to mention that the person involved was his own son. He would probably be implicated to death. The Hua Corporation is Hua Xiaofeng's confidence and reliance. Now that he has caused such a big mess, it is very likely that he will be kicked out of the Hua Corporation. Even if he is not kicked out, the company's internal staff will definitely be full of opinions about him, and his reputation will plummet. Is that why the system added 10 points to my score? Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes, as if she had sensed something. Hua Xiaofeng's female lead halo will also be affected? Male and female are originally one and complement each other. However, as the main character of the book, the female lead has a stronger halo than the male lead. Su Yiyan didn't think too much about it. She could tell that Hua Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping were bound together for good or ill. While they were talking, another piece of news popped up on Su Yiyan's phone. The CEO of the Hua Corporation has been sent to the hospital. He is suspected to have been angered by the eldest son of the family Hua. Pfft. Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh when she saw this, which alarmed Hua Chenhuan, who was sitting beside her. What are you looking at that makes you smile so happily? Hua Xiaofeng is in charge of a piece of land in the Hua family that has been found to contain ancient biological ruins. If this matter is confirmed, the Hua Corporation will probably lose a lot of money. Because of this, Hua Qihan seems to have been angered by Hua Xiaofeng and was sent to the hospital. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she saw that Hua Chenhuan's expression didn't change. She looked as if she had expected this. A thought flashed through her mind, and she asked in a low voice, "Does this matter have anything to do with you?" Hua Chenhuan's eyes moved slightly, and she nodded and said, "Yes." A trace of understanding flashed through Su Yiyan's eyes. She knew that this matter was too coincidental. Hua Xiaofeng had just suffered a big loss because of her, and now the Hua Corporation and Hua Qihan were in trouble. Did you send someone to make this a big deal? More than that. He had sent someone to expose this matter and make it a big deal, but he had done far more than that. Chapter 331. Su Yiyan was silent for a long time after hearing Hua Chenhuan's words. Hua Chenhuan noticed the change in her expression. His eyes darkened as he probed. "Do you think I'm too heartless?" Su Yiyan looked up at him in confusion. Heartless? Then, as if she had heard a joke, she couldn't help but chuckle. "Why would you think that? Do you think I don't know what kind of people Hua Qihan and his family are? I'm not a saint. I won't sympathize with them at a time like this. Besides. Su Yiyan moved closer to Hua Chenhuan and looked straight into his eyes. "I believe you. You must have a reason for everything you do. Whether it's for yourself or something else, I will believe you unconditionally and support you." Hua Chenhuan's heart was finally at ease because of Su Yiyan's words, and his eyes were filled with warmth. Now that this matter has become so big, how will it be dealt with in the future? If this was the only matter, Hua Qihan might choose to have a good talk with these geologists and get some compensation from them to make up for the company's losses. Su Yiyan understood the meaning behind Hua Chenhuan's words and asked curiously, "Can't we do that now? Did you forget that you just exposed Hua Xiaofeng and that woman?" Su Yiyan blinked and looked puzzled. "What's the connection between these two things? The group of people you hired not only scolded Hua Xiaofeng and that woman, but also Hua Xiaofeng's upbringing and the Hua Corporation." Su Yiyan didn't expect Hua Chenhuan to know that she had hired a group of people. She blushed and muttered in embarrassment. "How do you know everything?" "I'm worried that you'll be wronged, so I naturally have to pay more attention to everything." Hua Chenhuan said this seriously, but Su Yiyan smelled a hint of sweetness in his words, and the smile on her lips couldn't help but widen. Who told him to call his father the person in charge of the Hua Corporation when he came to cause trouble for me? He even threatened our company's security personnel to teach them a lesson. I want to see who will teach who a lesson. Hua Chenhuan loved Su Yiyan's arrogant and vengeful look. He smiled and said, "Originally, these two things really have nothing to do with each other. But because of the group of people, and what you said just now, Hua Xiaofeng used the Hua Corporation and Hua Qihan's name to threaten them in the video. This made many people doubt the Hua family's upbringing, and it also affected the Hua Corporation's reputation. At this time, the Hua Corporation suddenly discovered ancient biological relics in the development zone. If the Hua Corporation also announced that they wanted a huge amount of compensation, what would the consequences be?" Su Yiyan came to a sudden realization. Those righteous people on the internet will definitely say that they are greedy, black-hearted capitalists. The bigger the company, the more attention they pay to their reputation. Hua Qihan originally had a chance to make up for this mistake. Now that he has been affected by Hua Xiaofeng's matter, there is only one path in front of him. What is it? Donate that land unconditionally to protect the company's reputation. Sacrificing a rook to save the king was indeed the only way, but will he do that? He has no choice. If he doesn't do this, he will destroy the Hua Corporation's foundation. Even if he doesn't want to, there will be people who will force him to do it. But will the company's senior executives let him make this kind of decision? Hua Chenhuan narrowed his eyes and chuckled. They will. They know very well that this is the only way. But knowing is one thing, it is impossible for them not to feel resentment. Chapter 332. After listening to Hua Chenhuan's words, Su Yiyan was silent for a long time. Hua Chenhuan saw the change in her expression. His eyes darkened slightly and he asked tentatively, "Do you think I'm too cruel?" Su Yiyan looked up at him in confusion. Cruel? Immediately, as if she had heard a joke, she couldn't help but chuckle. Why would you think so? Don't I know what kind of people Hua Qihan and his family are? I'm not a saint. How can I sympathize with them at this time? And, Su Yiyan suddenly leaned in front of Hua Chenhuan and looked straight into his eyes. I believe you. You must have your own reasons for doing everything. Whether this reason is for yourself or for other reasons, I will believe in you unconditionally and support you. Hua Chenhuan's heart finally relaxed because of Su Yiyan's words, and there was a little more warmth in his eyes. This matter has become so big now. How will it be dealt with in the future? If it was only this matter, Hua Qihan might choose to have a good talk with these geological experts and get some compensation to make up for the company's losses. Su Yiyan understood the meaning of Hua Chenhuan's words and asked curiously, "Can't he do that now?" "You forgot that you just exposed the matter between Hua Xiaofeng and that woman." Su Yiyan blinked and looked puzzled. Is there any necessary connection between these two things? The group of ghostwriters you hired not only scolded Hua Xiaofeng and that woman, but also involved Hua Xiaofeng's upbringing and the Hua family. Su Yiyan didn't expect that Hua Chenhuan even knew that she had hired ghostwriters. She blushed slightly and muttered embarrassedly, "How do you know everything?" "I was worried that you would be wronged, so naturally, I had to keep an eye on everything." Hua Chenhuan said these words in a serious manner, but Su Yiyan smelled a trace of sweetness from it, and the smile on the corner of her mouth could not help but widen. "Humph. Who told him to claim that his father is the person in charge of the Hua Corporation when he came looking for trouble with me? He even threatened our company's security personnel to teach them a lesson. I'd like to see who's the one who's humiliating the other." Hua Chenhuan loved Su Yiyan's vengeful look. She smiled and said, "Originally, these two things were indeed unrelated. However, because of the influence of the Internet Water Army, and what you just said about Hua Xiaofeng using the name of the family Hua, and Hua Qihan in the video, many people began to doubt the upbringing of the Hua family. It also affected the Hua family's reputation. At this time, it was suddenly revealed that the Hua Corporation's development zone had excavated the remains of ancient creatures. If the Hua Corporation were to ask for a huge compensation at this time, what would the consequences be? Su Yiyan was suddenly enlightened. The righteous people on the internet will definitely say that they are greedy and black-hearted capitalists blinded by greed. The bigger the company, the more it values its reputation. Hua Qihan originally had a chance to make up for this mistake. Now that he has been affected by Hua Xiaofeng's matter, there is only one way in front of him. What? Donate that land unconditionally to protect the company's reputation. Abandoning the rook to save the king was indeed the only way, but will he do that? He has no choice. If he doesn't do that, he will destroy the foundation of the Hua Corporation. Even if he doesn't want to, someone will force him to do it. But will the company's senior management allow him to make such a decision? Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes and chuckled. They will. They know very well that this is the only way. But knowing is one thing, it's impossible for them not to be resentful. Chapter 333. This mess was caused by Hua Xiaofeng. As his father, Hua Qihan naturally had to help him clean up, but this would harm the interests of most people. Hua Qihan had originally hoped that Hua Xiaofeng would do something big to win over people's hearts. In the end, Hua Xiaofeng had offended everyone. It was conceivable that after this incident, Hua Qihan would be impeached by the company's senior management. It was unknown whether he could still hold the position of the head of the Hua Group. Su Yiyan quickly understood the meaning of Hua Chenhuan's words. She secretly sighed that giving birth and teaching children was also a skill. If she accidentally raised a debt collector like Hua Xiaofeng, not only would she not be able to enjoy her family life, but she might also lose her chastity in her later years. She wondered if Hua Qihan was so angry that he wanted to stuff her back into Mrs. Hua's womb to be reborn. After sighing, Su Yiyan seemed to think of something. She raised her eyebrows and said, "You didn't expect this early on, so you asked someone to expose this matter at this time, did you?" Hua Chenhuan smiled. I mainly wanted to vent for you. She had initially set up this trap to trap Hua Xiaofeng's family, but it was also good to expose this matter at this time. It was one thing to have a long-term plan to take back the Hua group, but the most important thing was that they had touched someone they shouldn't have and touched his bottom line. Su Yiyan snorted and said proudly and happily, You have a sweet mouth. I hope that Hua Qihan's family will be hurt this time, and won't jump in front of me in the future. Don't be afraid. We'll deal with them every time they come. Let's see if their blood is thicker or my knife is faster. Su Yiyan was stunned. It took a while for her to react to what Hua Chenhuan had said. She laughed out loud. Now that you mention it, I kind of hope that they will come a few more times. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and she said jokingly, You want to see them in a sorry state so much? Yes. Then I'll find someone to broadcast it to you on the day they are impeached. Okay. Su Yiyan reacted only after responding. She turned her head to look at Hua Chenhuan in confusion. Why did you get someone to broadcast this live? Don't tell me. You have people in the Hua Corporation? Hua Chenhuan gave her a meaningful smile, but did not answer her directly. Su Yiyan thought about it carefully. If he didn't have people in the Hua family, how could Hua Chenhuan know about Hua Qihan's family's movements so quickly and in detail? As for who this person was, Hua Chenhuan didn't want to tell her, so she didn't ask. The process wasn't the most important thing, but the result was. Hua Chenhuan and Su Yiyan had just arrived home when the Hua Corporation's incident was in an uproar. It was worth mentioning that Hua Chenhuan suddenly felt her lower limbs twitch at noon today. Although it was very slight, Su Yiyan was still very happy. This meant that her efforts during this period were indeed effective. Hua Chenhuan's necrotic nerves were waking up little by little. Even if the awakening process might take a long time, and the process would be more complicated and difficult, at least the two of them saw hope. Su Yiyan could never forget Hua Chenhuan's shocked, confused, flustered, and perturbed expression when she felt the movement in her lower limbs. At that moment, Su Yiyan was excited and inevitably felt a little distressed. In order to celebrate this matter, and let Hua Chenhuan feel some sense of reality, Su Yiyan decided to cook a big meal to celebrate. For this reason, the audience who had been waiting for Su Yiyan's live broadcast room finally saw someone's long-awaited live broadcast. Chapter 334. You're finally here. Fortunately, I didn't give up. I knew it. The early bird gets the worm. The hard-working child will always be able to wait for the streamer. Sob sob. The streamer has been neglecting her job ever since she got married. Originally, she only updated once a day, once every 3 days and once a week. Now, I'm satisfied if she can update once every half a month. I feel wronged. The streamer is really the most irresponsible streamer I've ever seen. She only broadcasted twice a month after getting married. Doesn't she know that no matter how popular the streamer is, it's easy to be forgotten without exposure? Has the audience all run away? As a true fan of the streamer, I really want to persuade the person above to understand that the streamer and her husband are newlyweds after their wedding. It's inevitable that the audience will be left out. As an audience, I really want to say, let's go, let's all go. That way, I'll have a chance at the streamer's lucky draw. The person above. Well said. I actually think so too. After experiencing all kinds of things in the previous live broadcast room, coupled with the fact that she opened a shop in reality, the business was booming, and the demand exceeded the supply. Moreover, the positive rating was as high as 99.9%. The number of followers in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room had gone straight to 7 digits, almost breaking through 9 digits. She could be regarded as the veritable #1 streamer on the website. Who knew how many people's eyes were red? Su Yiyan restarted her live broadcast after a long hiatus. All of a sudden, more than half of the overall traffic of the entire website was absorbed, and a large wave of new traffic was introduced at the same time. This group of people was eyeing covetously, waiting for Su Yiyan to finish her live broadcast to enter the lucky draw. They couldn't wait for more people to leave, so that their chances of winning the lottery would be greatly increased. Of course, not everyone was kind to Su Yiyan's absence during this period. under a lot of complaints, there were also some sour ridicule, such as, "This person is arrogant when she's popular." Other streamers live for 3 hours a day, hundreds of hours a month, and don't even have a day off. The streamer, on the other hand, only broadcasts for a few hours every 10 days or half a month. The most ridiculous thing is that the update frequency is also pushed every time she broadcasts. Hee. Does the streamer have some unspeakable relationship with the higher-ups of the live broadcast platform? Finally, there's someone who understands. If I remember correctly, there's a requirement for the length of the live stream every month when the host signs a contract with the platform, right? It's good enough that the platform didn't sue a streamer who broadcasts twice a month, but they actually rejected her. Could it be that she has some kind of PY deal with the company's higher-ups? This kind of sour tone, as well as the inexplicable and consistent reasons for the blame, just by looking at it, it was obvious that the streamers who were jealous of Su Yiyan had deliberately hired the Water Army to slander her. There were also some angry customers who couldn't get a reservation in Su Yiyan's medicinal cuisine restaurant. They gritted their teeth and jumped up and down. The good reviews of the streamer's physical store were probably paid by the Water Army. I used my ID to make a reservation. If there were too many people, I wouldn't have been able to make a reservation. Why did they say that they didn't support ID verification? Is this discrimination against ordinary consumers? If it was the former, the fans would spontaneously attack the other party until they were speechless, and Hua Chenhuan would also have her account banned. If it was the latter, although Hua Chenhuan would also have her account banned, she posted an explanation at the top of the live broadcast room. Mountain Yu Fusu. The medicinal cuisine restaurant will not accept viewers whose accounts have been banned. The medicinal cuisine restaurant will also not accept viewers who have slandered the streamer more than twice on major public forums, including their families. I hope everyone knows. Chapter 335. After that, she sent countless tips to ensure that her message was hung in the most prominent position in the live broadcast room for everyone to see. When this announcement came out, the professional anti-water army was immediately silenced. No one could guarantee that their own family members would suffer from 3 disasters and 6 diseases. When would they need help from others? Previously, they kept jumping around on the internet because they were not afraid of being exposed. Now the other party has directly stripped you of your identity and blocked your last path. Not only did they not have a share in the lucky draw in the live broadcast room, but they could also forget about the medicinal cuisine in real life. Didn't they hate her? That was her shop, so they could forget about the food she made. If they let her go, they would also let themselves go. Most of the accounts that had been banned before and were now jumping around were people who had borrowed their family members' identities to register new accounts. Now, even their own family members were blacklisted. Not only that, but other family members might also be blacklisted. This directly led to many people who wanted to make a reservation at the restaurant, but they could not even pass the identity verification. After asking around a little, she found out that there was such a thing. When she went back, she pulled out the scourge who harmed others and herself and gave them a beating. Of course, this was all in the future. Su Yiyan was preparing to make a lot of things today, and she needed more materials. When she took out all these things, the live broadcast room was already filled with complaints from the audience and the trolls looking for trouble. Then, she saw the explanation sent by Hua Chenhuan. Knowing that he was protecting her, she only felt sweet in her heart and did not care about those negative comments. She only said to the very sad audience who were waiting to be fed, "Recently, I've been busy with the wedding and the medicinal cuisine, so my live broadcast time has been reduced a lot. But from today onwards, I will try to find time to continue live broadcasting in the morning or at night. It's just that the duration of each broadcast may not be as long as before." Su Yiyan did not have as much time as before. During the day, she had to go to the management company, and in the afternoon, she had to remotely place orders for the customers who had made reservations at the medicinal cuisine restaurant. She could only find time in the morning and at night. She also had to consider her time with Hua Chenhuan. Thinking about it, she had no choice but to shorten the time and let the audience who were watching her live stream suffer. Perhaps it was because Su Yiyan had stood the audience up for too long, but when they heard her words, not only did they not feel disappointed, they even became excited. Is the host finally going to be hardworking? As long as the host is willing to do a live broadcast, you can do it at any time and for as long as you want. Seeing this, Su Yiyan smiled and went straight to the point. Thank you for your understanding. Today we will make a few simple medicinal dishes that are suitable for people with muscle atrophy and who need calcium and bone supplements. When Hua Chenhuan heard the words muscle atrophy and calcium nourishment, she immediately guessed that these dishes were made for her. A smile immediately appeared on her face. First, we're going to make chestnut, corn, and pork rib soup. The ingredients are relatively simple. It's just chestnuts, pork ribs, corn, and a part of the broth I brought back from the shop. As soon as Su Yiyan's voice fell, a few questions floated on the bullet screen. What's broth? Broth is the soup left behind by chicken soup after a long period of boiling. This kind of broth can have a very good freshness effect when used to stew noodles. It will make the noodles taste better. As Su Yiyan spoke, she cut the pork ribs into pieces and threw them into the pot to soak in water. Then she took them out for later use. Chapter 336. There's a saying in ancient Earth that goes, make up for what you lack. Bones are rich in calcium, protein, and collagen. Eating more can replenish calcium and strengthen bones. As mentioned before, chestnuts can nourish the kidneys and strengthen the waist. It also has a certain effect on bone loosening. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud sound of something being put into the pot, and the fragrance of scallions and ginger wafted out. Then he added pork ribs, corn, chestnuts, and the stock that he had prepared before. He covered the pot and boiled it until it was cooked. While boiling the soup, let's stir-fry 3 more dishes. Scrambled eggs with wood ears, stir-fried pork loin with chives and walnuts, and stir-fried river prawns with peas. These 3 dishes are all home-cooked dishes that nourish the kidneys, especially stir-fried pork loin with chives and walnuts. It also has a certain effect on bone loosening. Scrambled eggs with wood ears is more suitable for people with muscle atrophy. Su Yiyan's hands were very fast. In just a few minutes, he had finished arranging all the ingredients and stir-fried them one by one. Suddenly, the live broadcast room was filled with smoke, and the fragrance of the stir-fried dishes wafted out. The audience in the live broadcast room and the servants outside all stopped what they were doing and swallowed their saliva. By the time the dishes were done, the soup was almost ready. Su Yiyan tasted the soup and turned off the fire. When he looked up, he saw people cursing with righteous indignation on the bullet screen. Su Yiyan took a closer look and realized that some of the people who had their accounts banned in the live broadcast room before might have known that their whole families had been blacklisted because they had slandered Su Yiyan in many places. They gave up and began to curse Su Yiyan on other public platforms for being cold-blooded and heartless, and bullying. The audience in the live broadcast room witnessed the ins and outs of the matter with their own eyes. They watched helplessly as they inverted black and white and sowed discord. They were also very angry. One by one, they comforted Su Yiyan in the live broadcast room, telling him not to take these things to heart, and not to pay attention to these self-righteous idiots who thought that the whole world revolved around them. At this time, Su Yiyan had already pulled out one of the posts and read it. He found that the other party had repeatedly emphasized that he did not want to save someone who was in need. The other party even insinuated that Su Yiyan had previously given the Chinese medicine seeds to the research institute for free, because he wanted to curry favor with the higher-ups of the research institute. Ordinary people like them were simply not worth their time. Su Yiyan sneered. I'm not the Virgin Mary. I can't illuminate the earth with holy light. I can't do my best for strangers, and even those who harbor ill intentions against me without asking for anything in return. I'm not their mother, so there's no need for me to spoil them. Moreover, I'm just an ordinary streamer, an ordinary shop owner. If you don't like me, you don't have to come. If I don't like you, I can also refuse to sell the fruits of my labor. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Finally, don't flatter me. Everything that flatters me is moral blackmail. I'm just an ordinary person. I can't stand everyone's deification. As soon as Su Yiyan's words came out, many of the audience seemed to be a little shocked. The bullet screen instantly decreased by a lot. You don't have to fight with these unnecessary people for me. A person who has been rejected can't change the fact that they're not welcome here, no matter how eloquent they are. You should be happy because this has already helped you eliminate some opponents in advance. Even if the remaining people are not your own, they must be some like-minded people. Don't you feel more comforted if you think about it this way? Chapter 337. The audience felt as if they had just woken up from a dream. They were both excited and distressed. The host is too stubborn. Some people just think too highly of themselves. They think that everyone has to be their mother. Why don't they look at how old they are? I hate this kind of shameless giant baby the most. Hoo. The host is obviously the one being scolded for no reason. She should be the one being comforted the most, but she comforted us instead. What kind of immortal host am I a fan of? Hoo. I like the host who is fearless in front of anti-fans. She can make them speechless with just a few words. I also like the host's gentleness and patience to ordinary viewers like us. Some people really don't deserve to eat the host's food. Support the host. I'm about to die from anger after reading those stupid posts. Just because the host donated the Chinese medicine seeds for free. They think that the host should always serve others to live up to her reputation? They're really taking advantage of others. Give them an inch and they want a mile. Shameless to the extreme. Yes, all departments pay attention. In the future, if you see such comments on the internet, you must tell everyone that the host is being kind by being willing to help others. Endless requests for the host's contribution are shameless. Saving you is kindness, but not saving you is also duty. The host doesn't owe you anything. Su Yiyan looked at these comments that were sincerely considerate of her, and she couldn't help but feel a little more warm in her eyes. Well, let's not care about these annoying things. Next, let's draw a prize. As usual, after picking out a few audience members to send out a portion of today's dishes, Su Yiyan turned off the live broadcast and took the dishes out. Hua Chenhuan saw that she turned off the live broadcast and spontaneously sat at the dining table to wait for the food. Su Yiyan saw this and smiled slightly. Did you wait long? No, running around to do so many things every day. It must be very tiring, right? Su Yiyan was slightly startled. She was a little tired from the full schedule these days. She thought that she had hidden it well, but she didn't expect that Hua Chenhuan had already found out. She opened her mouth and wanted to say that she wasn't tired, but when she met Hua Chenhuan's gentle and tolerant eyes, she pouted and said truthfully, I'm tired. I'm dying of exhaustion. I'm so tired after earning money to support the family for a few days. It seems that I'm more suitable to be beautiful at home. So you have to get better quickly. I'll be relying on you to take care of me in the future. Hua Chenhuan was slightly stunned. She did not expect Su Yiyan to say that. She felt distressed and amused at the same time. Okay, I'll try my best to get better as soon as possible. I'll earn money to support the family, and let you be as beautiful as a flower at home. Okay. Su Yiyan nodded and picked up some food for Hua Chenhuan. If you want to get better quickly, eat well, and maintain a good mood. In a few days, I'll accompany you to the hospital for a full body checkup to see the results. Although the auxiliary function could roughly see a person's physical condition, it was not as reassuring as having accurate data. Moreover, the key now was not him, but Hua Chenhuan, the person involved. Su Yiyan wanted to let Hua Chenhuan truly feel that he was recovering and increase his confidence. This would also be beneficial for the treatment later. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and he nodded. Since his legs were declared dead by the most authoritative doctor, he had never gone to the hospital again. But if it was with Su Yiyan, he was willing to go and have a look. Su Yiyan was happy and continued to pick up food for Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan looked at the food piled up in the bowl. Her eyes flashed slightly and she said meaningfully, If I remember correctly, chives should be aphrodisiac, right? Chapter 338. Su Yiyan suddenly paused in her action of picking up the food. Then she quietly withdrew her chopsticks and said with a slightly red face, "That's not the only effect. And it's called yang enhancement, not yang enhancement. There's a difference in nature." "Oh." Hua Chenhuan raised his eyebrows and said, "Although the effect may be different, it should also nourish the kidney. So you are in such a hurry?" After Hua Chenhuan said this, Su Yiyen's face became even redder. She glared at Hua Chenhuan angrily, and put a large amount of chives into Hua Chenhuan's bowl. She said fiercely, "Eat your food. So much food can't block your mouth." Hua Chenhuan looked at her deeply and said lightly, "There's only one thing that can block my mouth." Su Yiyen bit her chopsticks and was stunned for a while before she realized the meaning of Hua Chenhuan's words. Her eyes suddenly widened, and she looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. She didn't expect that such a serious person would be so shameless in front of her. The two of them stared at each other for a long time. In the end, Su Yiyen compromised first and took the initiative to kiss Hua Chenhuan. "Are you okay now? Let's eat." Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyen's blushing face. The corners of his mouth rose slightly and he ate obediently. Dun Dun, who had been listless and lovesick since he came home, saw this scene. Every day, they were showing off their love in front of a poor single dog who had just been kicked out of the house by his mother-in-law and lost his wife. Didn't their consciences hurt? Dun Dun, who was hurt physically and mentally, whimpered in a low voice. He leaned on the chair and completely shut himself off. As Hua Chenhuan expected, when Hua Qihan woke up in the hospital and saw Hua Xiaofeng, he flew into a rage and smashed everything in the ward. He almost fainted from anger. It was Hua Xiaofeng's first time facing his father's thunderous rage. The glass cup smashed into his forehead, and blood flowed down his face. The hospital had no choice but to add another bed next to his father's. Hua Qihan got angry as soon as he saw him. He didn't want to be in the same ward as him at all. In the end, the hospital had no choice but to put a piece of cloth between the father and son, so that they couldn't see each other. In the end, as soon as they put the cloth in place, the media leaked the news. The father and son fight in the ward. The head of the Hua Corporation is sent to the hospital because of his son. A fight broke out in the ward. The father and son of the Hua Group's leaders are both hospitalized. Father and son turned against each other in the past. Is it the distortion of human nature, or the decay of morality? When Hua Qihan saw the report, the ward was almost smashed again. He couldn't wait to send Hua Xiaofeng back to his mother's womb to be reborn. Other people gave birth to a baby, but he gave birth to a son who was a debt collector. Previously, Hua Xiaofeng's family was ridiculed for breaking off their engagement. Later, there were problems with the Hua Corporation's key projects. The Hua Corporation's stock price fell to the bottom for a while. Even though Hua Qihan was in the hospital, he had to take the calls of the company's directors. He had to humbly accept the directors' dissatisfaction and cynicism. In the end, in order to appease the company's directors and stabilize the Hua Corporation's stock price, Hua Qihan had to cut off his tail to survive. He chose to donate the land where the ancient biological site was found. Of course, this donation meant that in addition to the company's heavy losses, he also had to put out a part of his private property to the company to maintain the company's normal operations. This part of the funds was enough to destroy Hua Qihan's years of hard work, not to mention the compensation for the company's other people whose interests were damaged. Chapter 339. The project Hua Xiaofeng was in charge of had a large initial investment. Donating it now was tantamount to digging a big hole for himself, and it would not be easy to fill it. Although the company's directors understood that Hua Qihan's actions were understandable, they were still angry. In particular, Hua Xiaofeng, who had caused all this, was his own son. He also complained about Hua Qihan, the person in charge of the company. The subtle atmosphere among the company's senior management also affected the employees below to a certain extent. Many people were counting on the year-end bonus to have a good year, as it was approaching the end of the year. Now that the company was in trouble, the year-end bonus was most likely gone. The basic benefits that they had been looking forward to for a year were gone. This alone was enough to make these low-level employees dissatisfied with Hua Xiaofeng, the young master who came out of nowhere, and Hua Qihan, the big boss. However, They were small and weak. Even if they were dissatisfied, they did not dare to show it on the surface. However, once there was a crack in something, it was difficult to restore it to its original state. Many changes were also subtle. Of course, they did not dare to object. But it did not mean that the company's senior executives did not dare to vent their dissatisfaction. In order to stabilize the Hua Corporation, Wuxia returned to the company in a wheelchair on the third day of his admission to take charge of the overall situation. Several of the company's senior directors saw the wheelchair under him. Their expressions were subtle for a moment, but they quickly returned to their original state. I'm sure you guys already know about the development zone in the suburbs. Do you guys have any good ideas? We don't dare to say that we have good opinions. At the beginning, we had reminded you that it was very dangerous to let a young man who had just come out of society and had never experienced experience be in charge of such a project. Now that our words have come true, we have nothing to say. Wuxia's face darkened as he looked at the director who spoke. He was an old man in his 60s or 70s with white hair at the temples. He was the senior backbone of the Hua Corporation that had been founded with the old chairman. Even now he had a certain right to speak in the company. This senior was now basically in a retired state and rarely came to the company. The last time he came to the company was for the company's quarterly summary meeting, which was when Wuxia handed over the project to Hua Xiaofeng. This time, Wuxia saw that he was dissatisfied with him and was ready to look on coldly. His heart was slightly cold, and his expression did not look good. However, he was in the wrong in this matter. Even though Wuxia was angry, he did not dare to lose his temper at the other party at this time. The incident this time was indeed due to the negligence of the subordinates of the young peak. But the most important thing now is how to solve this problem. Everyone present was a sly old fox. How could they not understand that he still wanted to protect Hua Xiaofeng and wanted to find a scapegoat to take the blame for Hua Xiaofeng? They didn't expose him, but asked lightly, "It's about the company's reputation and future development. Do you already have a countermeasure in mind?" "I propose to give that piece of land to the Supreme Research Institute for free. This way, not only can we seize the initiative, but we can also consolidate the company's reputation to a certain extent. Take it as a free advertisement for the company." As soon as Wuxia said this, a director immediately chuckled and said mockingly, "Free advertising? The price of this advertisement is extraordinarily high." The atmosphere in the conference room froze in an instant, and Wuxia's face turned pale. In the end, it was the old director from before who became the peacemaker. "Although it's expensive, we have no other choice now." Chapter 340. Everyone in the room fell silent again. The director who had previously mocked Wuxia snorted coldly and did not speak again. Wuxia could not help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw this. He thought that this matter was over, but he did not expect the old director to say, "Although it was a last resort, it is also a fact that the company has suffered huge losses because of this. These losses still have to be borne by the culprit." The expression on Wuxia's face stiffened slightly, and an ominous premonition suddenly arose in his heart. Sure enough, the next second he heard the old director say, "As the company's directors, we all agree that Hua Xiaofeng is the main person in charge of this incident and has an unshirkable responsibility for this matter. Therefore, we apply to remove him from the Hua Corporation and never hire him again." "What?" Wuxia's face turned pale. Being expelled from the company and never hired again meant that his son could no longer inherit the Hua Corporation and was directly kicked out of the Hua Corporation's heir list. Which company's employees would accept that their boss had been dismissed by the company? Wasn't this rushing to tell everyone that he was an idiot with no ability at all? However, if Hua Xiaofeng was kicked out, who else could the Hua Corporation in the future if he was not his only son? Did he have to hand it over to an outsider? No, in addition to Hua Xiaofeng, there was another person who also had the right to inherit the Hua Corporation. But that person, Wuxia, was so angry that he slammed the table hard, making a loud noise. "No, you can't do this. You can't." The old director's old, sharp, and shrewd eyes narrowed dangerously. He chuckled and said, "Young Hua, You have to understand that the fact that we did not ask him for compensation for major engineering mistakes is already the greatest tolerance we have as elders. The fact that we did not directly pull you down from the position of the company's head is also the greatest tolerance we have as elders." These words were not polite at all. To Wuxia, it was a blatant threat. These old directors also held a certain amount of shares in the company, but most of them did not have a large proportion of shares and could not compare to Wuxia's. This was why he was put in the position of the head. Once they teamed up to deliberately mess with him, or even directly sold these shares, Wuxia might not be able to get away with it. Their intentions were clear. Either they let Hua Xiaofeng take the responsibility and get out of the company, or they let all of them get out. Both of them had to bear the consequences of all of them leaving the company. From this, it could be seen that Wuxia's usual self-righteousness and this time, Hua Xiaofeng's big trouble had completely ignited the anger of these directors, making them extremely disappointed with the father and son. Wuxia's expression was extremely ugly, and his eyes flickered. In the end, he made a decision between himself and his son. I agree." After saying this, Wuxia's straight back suddenly collapsed. His whole person seemed to have suddenly aged more than 10 years, and his expression was ashen. The others didn't care what kind of mental struggle he was going through. After looking at each other, they said in a clear voice, "Since that's the case, let's vote. Those who agree to fire Hua Xiaofeng and never hire him again, raise your hand." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Everyone in the conference room raised their hands, except for Wuxia. A unanimous vote. In that case, immediately inform the personnel department to handle the relevant follow-up matters as soon as possible. Chapter 341. The decision to kick Hua Xiaofeng out of the Hua Corporation was made while he was still in the hospital, unaware of what had happened. By the time he found out about it from others and called Wuxia to confirm it, it was already too late. Hua Xiaofeng was arrogant and had considered himself the future heir of the Hua Corporation since he was a child. However, he was kicked out of the company just as he was about to succeed. For Hua Xiaofeng, such a fall was like stepping on his face and grinding it back and forth on the ground. It was more painful than killing him. Hua Xiaofeng began to scold over the phone. He scolded the company's directors, his subordinates, and even Wuxia. He felt that since Wuxia was the person in charge of the company, he had the absolute right to speak in the company. As long as he was willing to protect him, how could the directors casually kick him out of the company? Wuxia was already full of anger. He was angry that the company's directors did not give him face, and he was even angrier that Hua Xiaofeng failed to live up to his expectations. In the end, not only did Hua Xiaofeng not understand him, but he also blamed him. This kind of debt collector was better off not having a son. The father and son, who were originally happy and harmonious, seemed to have gradually become estranged from the moment Hua Xiaofeng took the initiative to break off the engagement. This incident was a fuse that completely ignited the relationship between the two, making it impossible for them to return to their previous fatherly and filial son relationship. Wuxia had a very important purpose for donating that piece of land. As soon as he finished negotiating with the Research Institute, he had asked someone to release a press release to publicize this matter. He wanted to sell the selfless name of contributing to the future of mankind. Unfortunately, the passers-by did not seem to buy it. As far as I know, there is no way to continue the construction of the ancient biological site that has been excavated underground. Are you sure you didn't deliberately bribe the press release to brag about the donation? If I had known about this before seeing the scumbag couple, I might have thought that this was a good idea. Now it seems hypocritical. Let's go. Wuxia thought that once the press release was released, the reviews would suddenly turn around, and the company's stock would stabilize a little. He did not expect that a third of the people had the same idea. He was so angry that he almost smashed the office again. On the other hand, Hua Chenhuan kept her promise and told her about how Wuxia was almost fired by the company's directors. Su Yiyan listened with relish and said with a smile, "Wuxia's expression must have been very funny when you said that. If I was there at that time." Hua Chenhuan looked at the gloating smile on Su Yiyan's face and laughed along. However, I really didn't expect this matter. I thought it would take a few days before he made up his mind to donate such a large piece of time. Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said truthfully, the reason why this matter has progressed so smoothly is because someone is adding fuel to the fire behind the scenes. Who is it? Your brother. My brother? Su Yiyan looked confused and surprised. How does this matter have anything to do with my brother? Maybe he saw the video of Hua Xiaofeng and his wife looking for you on the internet. He couldn't bear to see you being bullied, so he pushed you behind your back. Su Yiyan nodded. She had to admit that this was indeed something her brother would do. However, since she already knew that he had pushed her behind her back, Su Yiyan had to call him to confirm. Su Yuxuan seemed to have been waiting for her call. As soon as the call was connected, he said, "You finally know to call me?" Chapter 342. There was a hint of jealousy in his questioning tone. However, Su Yiyan seemed to be used to his brother's occasional arrogance and coaxed him. I've been busy recently, so I haven't been in touch with you and Mom and Dad. How have you been? Pretty good. It's just that there's one less person in the family, so it's a little empty. Su Yiyan was stunned, and his heart warmed. He smiled faintly and said, Then I'll visit you with Chenhuan this weekend when I'm free. As Su Yiyan spoke, he seemed to have thought of something and added, I'll bring you delicious food. I'm the eldest young master of the Su family. What delicious food have I not eaten? Why would I miss the food you bring back? Yes. You don't miss it. It's just that I've come up with a few new dishes recently, and I want you to try my cooking. She did not know who ate the most when she cooked at home. Su Yuxuan listened to his sister's coaxing and said awkwardly, Since you've said so, Mom and Dad will wait at home and see if your cooking has improved after moving to the family Hua. Okay. Su Yuxuan chatted with Su Yiyan for a while and suddenly asked, Don't you have anything else to ask me? Ahem, I do have something to ask you. About the whole corporation, did you also? That's right. I bribed the media to deliberately fan the flames and blow the matter up. I also secretly found a close friend and asked the elders in his family to help put pressure on Hua Qihan. It would have been better if Su Yiyan did not mention this. Now that he mentioned it, Su Yuxuan felt wronged. Back then, when his sister was wronged in school, the first person she ran home to look for was him, her brother, with red eyes. Now Hua Xiaofeng brought that mistress to find trouble with her. She did not even tell him about such a big matter. She really did not want her brother anymore after she had a husband. At this thought, Su Yuxuan snorted again and said thoughtfully, Did Hua Chenhuan tell you? What does he mean? Does he want to denounce me? Do you think I shouldn't touch the Hua Corporation? When Su Yiyan made the call, Hua Chenhuan was beside her. Although Su Yuxuan did not speak on speaker, her voice was not soft. Su Yiyan heard his accusation and subconsciously glanced at Hua Chenhuan. She saw that his expression had changed slightly, but he was still looking at her gently, as if he was not angry. She heaved a sigh of relief and helped to explain. You misunderstood him. He didn't mean that. Actually, he was also involved in what happened to the Hua Corporation this time. He was standing up for me. After listening to Su Yiyan's explanation, Su Yuxuan was silent for a moment before he said, At least he has some responsibility. When Su Yiyan heard her brother praising Hua Chenhuan, she also said happily, He has always been very responsible. Brother, don't worry. He loves me the most now. Su Yuxuan. Su Yuxuan was caught off guard and felt as if he had eaten an entire lemon. His whole body was sour, but he could not let this sour smell affect his sister. He could only turn his sour mood into anger and said coldly, Hua Xiaofeng and that woman are really insatiable. They don't know what they are doing. It's good enough that you didn't go looking for trouble with them, but they actually came to slander you. If we don't teach them a lesson, they will really think that the Su family is easy to bully. Su Yuxuan had taken action because of the video, and because the two families had already become enemies because of the annulment of the engagement. Now Hua Xiaofeng did not know the gravity of the situation. He was clearly forcing the Su family to fight to the death with him. Chapter 343. Su Yuxuan pursed his lips and looked unhappy. I won't let this go just like that. You should also tell Huo to make his stance clear. The family Hu dared to bully you, so there's no reason for the Su family to take it lying down. I'm not asking him to kick you when you're down, but if he still has a conscience for you, he should just stand by and watch. Don't side with that family, or else I'll deal with him as well. When Huo heard this, she felt that if she didn't explain herself, she might be wrongly accused. She quickly stepped forward and asked Su Yiyan to give up the phone for the time being. Big brother. Su Yuxuan was caught off guard by Huo's voice. He froze for a moment, then his attitude quickly changed. Huo didn't mind his obvious difference in treatment and said softly, "Don't worry. Not long after we got married, I completely fell out with them. This time, I also got involved in the Huo Corporation's matter. Just like you said, if they dare to come looking for Yin Yin, this matter won't be over so easily. I know what I'm doing." Su Yiyan stood next to him. Her eyes curved slightly, and she quickly chimed in. "That's right, big brother. If he dares to help them, I'll be the first to disagree." Su Yuxuan listened to the two of them echo each other. The corners of his lips twitched slightly, and he said gloomily, "Why don't you agree? Divorce him right away?" Su Yiyan blinked and turned to glance at Huo. She seemed to have made up her mind and replied firmly, "Yeah." Huo's eyes flickered slightly, but she didn't say anything. When Su Yuxuan heard Su Yiyan's words, he knew that she hadn't let her feelings get to her head. He said reluctantly, "All right. With your words, big brother will feel more at ease. Don't make yourself suffer. Without him, you still have us as your family. We won't stand by and watch you get bullied." Su Yiyan's eyes curved into crescents as she softly replied, "I know." The two siblings chatted about other things before they hung up the phone after Su Yuxuan reluctantly confirmed several times that Su Yiyan would return home. Before Su Yiyan could heave a sigh of relief, she suddenly heard Huo's emotionless question. "Divorce? It's just a hypothesis. I know you won't do that. What if I did?" Su Yiyan was slightly taken aback. She looked straight into Huo's eyes and said without hesitation, "Then let's get a divorce." "Why?" "Because if you really do that, you won't be the you in my heart anymore. For the sake of a few idiots, he turned against me and my family. If I don't divorce such a husband, am I supposed to keep him for the new year?" Huo stared at Su Yiyan silently for a long time before she smiled and said, "You're right. There will never be a day like that." Su Yiyan understood the meaning of her words and smiled. "Then I'll wait and see." Su Yiyan seemed to have thought of something as she said, "By the way, I have something to discuss with you." "What is it?" "I plan to agree to Yi Qiuyang's proposal and teach him some of the things I have." Huo didn't ask her who Yi Qiuyang was, nor did she ask what Yi Qiuyang's so-called proposal was. She only asked in a deep voice, "Is this what you were struggling with before?" "Yes. I've said before that as long as it's something you want to do, you can do it. I'll support you unconditionally. Don't worry about the consequences. I'm here." Huo paused and reluctantly added, "Other family members are here too." Chapter 344. Su Yiyan could hear the awkwardness hidden in his words of concern. She almost couldn't help but laugh out loud. "My brother isn't here right now. You don't have to be so nervous." Huo was speechless. Su Yiyan laughed for a while and took the initiative to explain. "I agreed to his proposal because I felt that it was a good thing. Even if it would cause some trouble, the advantages would definitely outweigh the disadvantages." A portion of the audience watching her live broadcast should be patients with difficult and complicated diseases. Minor illnesses were one thing, but if possible, everyone would want to be healthy and ordinary people. There were many annoying people in the world like those brainless anti-fans who would criticize anyone who became popular, but there were more cute little angels who had good values and were kind-hearted. She couldn't just watch those who had shown her kindness fall into deep suffering because she was worried that she would be criticized, scolded, or get into trouble. She could clearly help them, but she didn't do anything. Also, Su Yiyen's face was slightly red. Some treatments are really inconvenient for a girl like me to do. It might be better to teach some guys. Hua Chunhuan's eyes narrowed when he heard that. He was interested. For example? For example, for your illness, you need to remove the needle from the hoop jump acupoint. Su Yiyen's eyes began to wander. The hoop jump acupoint is where I asked you to take off your pants and prick it the other day. Hua Chunhuan's face darkened. He thought that Su Yiyen might take off another man's pants and prick another man's but one day. No, Su Yiyen was shocked. She looked up and saw Hua Chunhuan's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot. She couldn't help but laugh. You're not allowed just like that? Then if I know how to asterisk. Su Yiyen's eyes glanced ambiguously at a certain important part of Hua Chunhuan's body. Even if Hua Chunhuan didn't know what acupoint she was talking about, he could roughly guess its location. His face immediately darkened. Su Yiyen was also afraid that he would lose his head in anger, so he quickly gave in and said, Okay, don't be angry. Even if you didn't say it, I definitely wouldn't do such a thing to anyone other than you. Hua Chunhuan raised her eyebrows. Did this mean that she was going to do this to him in the future? While Hua Chunhuan was nervous, she also had a little bit of expectation. Su Yiyen didn't know what he was thinking. Seeing that his face had cleared up a little, he let out a sigh of relief and said, I can't bear to watch him die and not save him. But there are many times when it's really inconvenient. Teaching these things can be considered a win-win situation. It was just that if he accepted this invitation, he would probably have less free time. However, I will try my best to coordinate with him so that he won't take up too much of our personal space. What you said just now. Do you need a live demonstration when teaching students? Su Yiyen didn't understand what Hua Chunhuan meant. If you need to, you definitely can't find anyone other than me. Su Yiyen finally understood what he meant. Her little face was as red as a cooked shrimp. You. Su Yiyen took a few deep breaths to calm herself down. I will ask Professor Yi to make an imitation doll in advance. It doesn't need a real person. Oh, Su Yiyen. What's with your inexplicable dejected tone? Although the imitation doll was deliberately used to prevent Su Yiyen from seeing other men, even if it was an imitation of a real person, Hua Chunhuan still felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. He confirmed again, You really don't need it? There's really no need. Chapter 345. Hua Chunhuan looked at his wife's blushing face. Although he felt a little regretful, he couldn't continue teasing her. Otherwise, if he overdid it and she got angry, he would be the unlucky one. The eye. You mentioned just now. Are you going to insert it when you treat me later? Su Yiyen's body stiffened. She immediately became angry and said, So what if I am? Are you scared now? Hua Chunhuan's eyes lit up. Tonight. Su Yiyen. What's going on? Wasn't this guy afraid of needles before? Why did he suddenly change? Just as Su Yiyen really didn't know how to deal with Hua Chunhuan's pressure step by step, someone's phone suddenly rang and rescued Su Yiyen from this awkward situation. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up and she said cheerfully, You do what you need to do. I'll call Professor Yi. After she finished speaking, she didn't wait for Hua Chunhuan's reaction and ran away as if she was escaping. Hua Chunhuan looked at her back, and a trace of a smile flashed across his eyes. However, after seeing the caller ID on the screen, the smile gradually disappeared and was replaced by indifference. Su Yiyen hurriedly retreated until she was a distance away from Hua Chunhuan's sight. She couldn't help but sigh in relief. She secretly lamented that men changed so much before and after marriage that she couldn't take it anymore. Su Yiyen finally calmed down and immediately contacted Yi Qiliang. Yi Qiliang was excited as soon as he received her call. Miss Su. Professor Yi, just call me Yin Yan. Okay, Yin Yan. Yi Qiliang was full of hope, but he was afraid of offending Su Yiyen. He hesitated for a moment before he probed. You suddenly called me. Is it because... I thought about it and think that what you said before is indeed feasible. So, I agree. That's great, that's great. Su Yiyen listened to the undisguised joy of this old man, who was over 50 years old, and felt somewhat uncomfortable in his heart. But I have some requests. Request? Yi Qiuyang was stunned for a moment before he quickly said, "Tell us. As long as it's something we can do, we'll try our best to do it for you." First of all, my free time is limited. I can only attend about 2 classes a week in the morning or in the afternoon, and most of my classes will be on weekends. That's not a problem. Yi Qiuyang readily agreed. Our school usually has classes on the weekends. As long as you're willing to come, we'll definitely arrange it according to your free time. We won't make things difficult for you. From Yi Qiuyang's point of view, Su Yiyan was willing to sacrifice the weekend to teach them. So how could they dare to have any objections? Then there's the problem of the candidates. I hope that your school can help me screen some students with good character, who are really interested in traditional Chinese medicine in advance. Grades are not the most important thing. Compared to grades, I care more about character. I don't want students who come to learn this just to seek novelty and stand out from the crowd. If that's the case, I think they won't be able to learn anything. Yi Qiuyang's thoughts coincided with Su Yiyan's. Traditional Chinese medicine was already unpopular and rare. If a group of students who were not interested in it, and came here just to waste their time and graduate to learn this, Yi Qiuyang felt that it was a waste of resources. Don't worry about this. Our school will screen in advance students who really like this subject, who are hardworking and have good character, and who are willing to learn this knowledge. We don't ask for quantity, but quality. Chapter 346. This promise, which sounded like a slogan, almost made Su Yiyan laugh. That's good. Lastly, and most importantly, I hope that these students will be responsible for their own actions in the future, whether they learn well or not. If they truly gain my recognition, they won't easily use these things on real people before they graduate. Can you do that? Yi Qiuyang was stunned. Then he smiled and said, "That's for sure. Practicing medicine and saving people is a matter of life and death. If you don't learn well, you won't be helping people, you'll be harming them." Su Yiyan was greatly relieved to see that he was so reasonable. "Then I'll have to trouble you." "It's no trouble at all. Then it's settled. I'll go and discuss with the principal about the class schedule." "Teacher Su, when are you free on the weekends?" "Any time is fine. I'm free on the weekends except for noon and evening." "That's fine." Yi Qiuyang seemed to have thought of something as he spoke. He coughed lightly and asked in embarrassment, Can the school's teachers such as me also attend the class?" Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment, then smiled awkwardly. "Of course you can, but I'm not a real teacher after all. In front of you, I'll be displaying my slight skill in front of an expert. I might make a fool of myself. It's fine, it's fine. Everyone has their first time. We'll just be there to listen. Just treat us as those unimportant murals in the background. Don't feel too pressured." Okay. The two of them quickly settled on the matters to take note of. Yi Qiuyang couldn't wait to find the principal to make the follow-up class schedule. The matter that had been hanging in his mind all this time was finally resolved. Su Yiyan felt a lot more relaxed. He walked around downstairs, but in the end he still felt uneasy, so he turned around and went upstairs. As soon as he reached the second floor, he saw Hua Chenhuan sitting on the balcony, looking at the back garden below through the transparent glass window. Su Yiyan walked behind him, put his hand on his shoulder, and asked in a low voice, "What are you looking at?" "Nothing. Have you explained it clearly to Yi Qiuyang?" "Yeah, who was looking for you just now." Hua Chenhuan was silent for a few seconds and said truthfully, "A few old directors of the Hua Corporation." "The old director of the Hua Corporation?" Su Yiyan was surprised. "Why are they looking for you?" Hua Xiaofeng was kicked out of the Hua Corporation in such a humiliating way. The company will never accept such a disgraced person as the successor of the Hua Corporation. Su Yiyan had a flash of inspiration when she heard this. "If they're looking for you now, could it be that they want you to return to the Hua Corporation?" "Yes. But isn't Hua Qihan still here? Aren't they afraid that he'll—" Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed with a trace of sarcasm. Maybe they finally realized that even if the company was handed over to a disabled person, it would still be better than handing it over to a mediocre person who has no ability and will drag them down. Before his accident, these people had wanted to support him. However, after his accident and his legs were disabled, these people unconditionally turned to Huichihan's side and never mentioned their initial optimism for him. Now that Huichihan and his son had caused such a big trouble and hurt the interests of these people did not hesitate to abandon Huichihan and his son and turned to him to show goodwill. The fickleness of human nature was terrible and cold. Su Yiyan frowned when she heard what he said. She was distressed and angry. You'll get better soon. When the time comes, you'll definitely give everyone a shock and scare them to death. Umph. Chapter 347. Hua Chenhuan was amused by Su Yiyan's angry words, and a warm current flowed through his heart. To put it nicely, these people are assessing the situation. To put it bluntly, they are fence-sitters. They are not reliable at all. I know. Since you know, why are you still with them? The more Su Yiyan thought about it, the angrier he became. When he thought of how much gossip and ridicule Hua Chenhuan had endured over the years, he wanted to beat all of them up. Different people have different uses. People like them. When necessary, I won't feel bad even if I push them out. Su Yiyan frowned and still felt that it was a little dangerous. But people like them are too unstable. That's exactly what I want. I don't need to pretend to be a snake with people who are really stable. People have weaknesses when they have desires. Don't worry, I know what to do. Hua Chenhuan didn't want to be entangled with Su Yiyan on this topic, so he changed the subject. You just said that I'll get better soon. Su Yiyan didn't understand what he meant at first and said subconsciously, as long as the treatment goes well, you'll get better soon. Trust me. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly and he smiled faintly. Of course I trust you. But in order to make me get better quickly, are you really not going to consider giving me a few injections tonight? Su Yiyan was confused. Why did the topic go around in such a big circle and come back to the original point? Also, weren't you afraid of needles before? Why are you so eager to ask for injections now? After all this time, are you a masochist? The matter with the several old directors of the Hua group was eventually left unsettled. The reason was that Su Yiyan was a little annoyed by Hua Chenhuan's pressuring step by step, and felt that he should urgently study to deal with someone's evolving thick-skinned face. The family Hua incident started with Hua Xiaofeng being scolded as a scumbag. Hua Qihan cut off his tail to survive and suffered heavy losses. Not only did Su Yiyan earn a wave of sympathy, but he also gained some other subtle benefits. This is a summary of the newcomers who want to transfer to our company. A newcomer who transferred to our company? Su Yiyan took the thick stack of personal information and was a little confused. Why are there so many? Xia Junxing glanced at her meaningfully. That's all. But this doesn't make sense. Although it's usually job-hopping season after the new year, isn't this a little too much? It's all thanks to you. My contribution? What did I do? Xia Junxing looked at Su Yiyan's frightened expression and couldn't help but laugh. Did you forget that the video of you tearing apart the scumbag who broke off his engagement and the White Lotus mistress was on the hot topic list? Su Yiyan blinked and found it a little funny. They came here because of this. Because of my handsome and heroic appearance when I tore the dregs with my bare hands? That's not it. They were attracted by the domineering integrity of you defending your own artist. Su Yiyan choked. Is that true? Have you forgotten how you dissed that woman back then? Su Yiyan thought about it carefully. It seemed that such a thing had really happened. So, they think that you're really a good boss because you can still stand up for your own artist when you're being pestered by those two weirdos. You're not stingy with your praise for outstanding artists. Are you sure they really think so and not think that I'm so young and easier to get along with than those old foxes? Xia Junxing was speechless. Chapter 348. Ahem, no matter what, these people did come to us. Look. Su Yiyan flipped through the information under her hand. Just because they came, it doesn't mean that we have to accept them. Xia Junxing was slightly stunned. You mean, first, get someone to verify the character of these people. They aren't fake characters on the screen, but real characters and temperaments. In addition, investigate the reason why they left their original company. Okay. Apart from this, is there anything else we need to pay attention to? For example, ability, fame, traffic, and so on. In business, although Xia Junxing had a rough understanding of Su Yiyan's temperament during this period of time, they were still an entertainment company, so it was not good to not take these into consideration. Su Yiyan muttered, "Character is the most important. I don't want the company to attract troublemakers and shit-stirrers just because of fame and traffic. Just look at Hua Xiaofeng. No matter how famous and how much traffic one had, if one's character was not good, they would sooner or later fail. When that time came, don't expect them to make a profit. It would be good enough if they didn't clean up their mess. Of course, I'm not saying that these are not important. Under the premise that their character is good, we can give priority to artists who are capable, hardworking, and motivated. Of course, if these artists have their own topics and traffic, that would be even better." After Su Yiyan mentioned it, the so-called fame and traffic became the focus of attention. Xia Junxing felt that it was unexpected but reasonable. He frowned and said nothing in the end. Su Yuxuan had said before that this company was a gift to his sister. If it made a profit, it would be his sister's, and if it made a loss, it would be his. In addition, the company's rules can be changed appropriately. Those who are capable and down-to-earth and talented in all aspects can be nurtured. Those who are not talented but down-to-earth can work behind the scenes. Although it is a little old-fashioned to teach according to the individual's ability, it is not without reason. In my company, opportunities can be given to anyone. It just depends on whether you can grasp them. Xia Junxing's face darkened. He knew that Su Yiyan was talking about the company's internal strife and unspoken rules. Speaking of this, that run. Hearing Su Yiyan ask about this person, Xia Junxing's eyes quickly turned cold. Ren Miaoqiong. Oh right. How's the matter with Ren Miaoqiong coming along? She's been shelved. Her manager has also left. The other thing is that director. You don't want to scram? Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes, and the aura around her was 50 to 60% similar to Hua Chenhuan's when she was angry. That day, Hua Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping openly came to Eastern City to block her. The more Su Yiyan thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. Although this incident was part of the original plot in the original novel, and had happened in her previous life, the original novel only briefly mentioned the origin of this incident. It said that the two of them had accidentally heard from others that one of the investors of the variety show, Dongcheng, was her private company. Who was this person? When this incident happened, she had just taken over Dongcheng. It was not strange for Hua Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping to hear that Dongcheng was her family's business. Perhaps it was because this person knew that the nominal boss of Dongcheng had changed hands and revealed it. Su Yiyan felt that this informant was very likely to be an internal staff of her company. For this reason, Su Yiyan asked Xia Junxing to secretly investigate this matter. In the end, they really found out the problem. Chapter 349. The person who had deliberately leaked the matter was a female artist who had just been signed by Dongqing City. This female artist wasn't stupid. In order to prevent others from investigating her, she deliberately leaked the matter to a big mouth in the production team, who then spread the news indiscriminately. Where there were people, there would be gossip. It was very easy to form gossip, but it wasn't easy to investigate. Thanks to this big mouth, the news of Dongqing City's change of ownership of Su Yiyan only reached Wen Jingping's ears after 5 or 6 rounds. It took Xia Junxing some effort to investigate. Fortunately, if he didn't want others to know, he shouldn't have done it in the first place. After a few twists and turns, he finally found the source. When Su Yiyan saw this female artist, she was a little surprised. Didn't the company only send 4 female artists to this show? Where did this woman come from? At that time, Xia Junqing glanced at her with a subtle expression and said awkwardly, "This female artist was groomed by Xiao Dong. Xiao Dong is the nephew of our company's chairman Xiao." Su Yiyan instantly understood. She got in through connections? Yes. How are her results? She was eliminated from the top 10. Her ability isn't particularly good, but her looks? Su Yiyan instantly understood again. Canary might not be good in other aspects, but her looks had to pass. Does Chairman Xiao have a lot of power in the company? Has he done this before? He does have a certain amount of authority. His nephew likes to use his connections to intimidate others. Previously, he often snatched artists under other managers in the company. I warned him several times, but he refused to change. After all, he was only helping Su Yuxuan manage the company. Logically speaking, Chairman Xiao had more power than him. As long as the two of them didn't go overboard, Xia Junqing couldn't clash with them head-on. However, he didn't expect that these two idiots would really treat Dongqing City as their own after acting like tyrants in the company all these years. They even dared to touch the new big boss. But reality proved that they were that bold. If they let Wen Jingping and Hua Xiaofeng cause a ruckus and succeed, Su Yiyan would lose face and prestige in the company. It would be easier for the old directors to manipulate her. A few girls who had just started their careers would also be accused of going in through the back door, and suffer a certain amount of pressure from public opinion. Their reputation and image would also be negatively affected. At that time, it would be much easier for Ren Miaoqiong, who had roughly the same star path as them, to snatch resources from them. Su Yiyan hated little b** cheese who schemed behind their backs the most. He immediately got someone to freeze this woman and fire Xiao Dong. Su Yiyan was a newly appointed official, and this action was undoubtedly a show of strength to the company's directors. Chairman Xiao had yet to see the situation clearly. As soon as his nephew was fired, he made a scene in front of Xia Junqing, and even wanted to make a scene in front of Su Yiyan. He really didn't want to leave, and even made a scene in the company. It wasn't until I handed those things over to him that his expression changed, and he left angrily. This uncle and nephew weren't good people to begin with. Over the years, they had relied on their seniority in the company and their background to do many dirty things. Just because they didn't investigate before didn't mean that they didn't know about it. Now that they did, they found out that they had fired many people. He's angry? He's done so many bad things, but I'm not angry yet. Why is he angry? Su Yiyan sneered. Get someone to keep an eye on him. If he dares to play any tricks, send him and his nephew to jail. Take it as getting rid of evil for the people. Chapter 350. Xia Junqing agreed verbally, but he secretly sighed in his heart. I'm afraid I won't have this opportunity. He had already sent an identical copy of the information he had found to Su Yiyan before sending it to Su Yuxuan. Su Yiyan was kind and did not kill him. However, Su Yuxuan's sister Khan, who treated his sister as his life, would not let him off easily. It would be difficult for him to play any tricks again. By the way, pay attention to this artist. Xia Junqing pulled out a personal resume from the top of the stack of information. Luo Weibing? Su Yiyan frowned and pondered. He inexplicably felt that the name was a bit familiar. Yes, the youngest Double Gold Award winner so far, Luo Weibing. Double Gold Award winner? Su Yiyan was surprised. He also jumped into our company? Because of me? To be precise, Ning Qirui led him here. Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed slightly. What does this have to do with Ning Qirui? Yi Qiliang was one thing, but now he had attracted a Double Gold Award winner. Did that guy have a physique that attracted bees and butterflies? Ning Qirui, who was not used to staying in the hospital, was taken home early after he was exposed to good food and drink. His complexion did not change at all, and he even gained some weight. Achoo. Ahem. Didn't you ask him to post a recent situation that day to show that he was not frozen, but was being treated? After that, he discussed with the company's publicity department and released a statement while you were being pushed to the hot topic list by Zheng Qiuying's fans because of that video. In this statement, Ning Chirui confessed that he was seriously ill and needed treatment for a period of time before he could return to the entertainment industry. He also emphasized the company's warm company. After knowing that he was ill, not only did they not give up on him, but they were also very enthusiastic to help him find the best doctor to treat him. Now that his condition had stabilized and was slowly improving, he would be able to meet his fans again in a few months, so they did not have to worry too much. In order to increase the authenticity of his statement, Ning Chirui also uploaded a few selfies and medical records so that his fans could see that his health was improving. As soon as this statement came out, Ning Chirui's fans, who were originally full of hostility, were dumbfounded. On one hand, they felt sorry for their idol's illness, and on the other, they felt ashamed for their previous indiscriminate cursing of the agency. After the company reposted his statement, it attracted a lot of fans. Did you bring Luo Weibing along? Yes. Luo Weibing signed a 6-year contract with his original agency, which will expire at the end of next month. With his current fame and status, the company is naturally unwilling to let him go. It is said that half a year ago, they have been talking to him about renewing the contract, but he has not relented. Why is that? Does that agency not treat him well? It's neither good nor bad. The main reason why he didn't continue is probably because of his younger sister. Younger sister? Yes, Luo Weibing has a younger sister. She is 12 years old this year. It is said that she has some heart problems and has not been in good health. Since last year, Luo Weibing consciously reduced his workload to accompany his sick sister. His agency was a little dissatisfied, and because of this they left him. They have not been able to renew the contract with Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing, double gold award-winning actor, younger sister, heart disease. She was wondering why this name was so familiar. Wasn't this guy the sucker that Wen Jingping hooked up with shortly after entering the entertainment industry? Chapter 351. Luo Weibing was a sucker. To be precise, in the original work, except for Hua Xiaofeng, who won the beauty, these spare men were basically suckers. Including Ning Chirui, who had gone astray and escaped from the sea of bitterness. Poor lost little cutie Ning. Achoo! Who is talking about me again? But Luo Weibing was more tragic than other supporting men. He was born in an ordinary working family. His father went out to work and unfortunately died. His mother was too sad and died after falling ill, leaving him and his only sister to depend on each other. At that time he was still underage and his sister was young. The person in charge of this area wanted to find a temporary guardian for these two poor children. But the relatives who had a good relationship with their family in the past all changed their faces when they saw that his parents were gone. They treated the two of them as burdens and kicked them around. Luo Weibing protected his sister and tasted the fickleness of human nature at a young age. In order to support his sister, he dropped out of school to work after graduating from junior high school. Later, he met a talent scout in a bar and was brought into the entertainment circle. He had no background and was not even from a professional school. With his tenacity, he became the best actor in a few years. Moreover, he became the best actor with double gold awards. The effort he put in could be seen. However, just as the two siblings' days were getting better, and they were looking forward to the future, Luo Weibing's sister was suddenly found to have a heart attack. Even if a lot of money was spent on treatment, the condition was still deteriorating. In the original work, Wen Jingping met Luo Weibing's sister when she went to the hospital with Hua Xiaofeng and accidentally ate shrimp allergies. Wen Jingping immediately saw that the watch on Luo Weibing's sister's hand was expensive. She thought that this child was from a rich family, so she wanted to make friends with her. Luo Weibing's sister was only 11 or 12 years old at that time. She had been protected by Luo Weibing and was very simple. Wen Jingping quickly gained her trust and relied on her to make friends with Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing saw that his sister liked this young lady so much. He took Wen Jingping to several crews and successfully made Wen Jingping popular. It could be said that Wen Jingping could quickly gain a foothold in the entertainment circle because of Luo Weibing. It was a pity that Luo Weibing didn't expect that his kindness would become a death sentence for him and his sister. After Wen Jingping quickly became popular, because she was brought out by Luo Weibing. The agency company to which Wen Jingping belonged asked Wen Jingping to take Luo Weibing to hype up the couple to help her become popular. Naturally, this matter could not be hidden from Hua Xiaofeng. His girlfriend was flirting with another man on the screen. How could a straight man like him bear to be cuckolded? In the original novel, Hua Xiaofeng had never experienced the embarrassing situation of being chased out of the Hua Corporation. It was difficult for him to be the legitimate heir of the Hua family, but how difficult could it be to destroy someone? Because of jealousy, Hua Xiaofeng found Luo Weibing's relatives and bribed several actresses who had worked with Luo Weibing. He asked them to fabricate lies and run to the media to cry and make trouble. In just a few days, Luo Weibing was caught in a series of scandals, such as ungrateful, breaking the contract, and sleeping with actresses in the same crew. From a double gold movie king with good reputation, he became a rat crossing the street. However, Wen Jingping only called him and comforted him softly on the phone. She refused to say anything in public, and even her eyes turned red when the media asked about Luo Weibing. Chapter 352. The explanation given in the original novel was that she didn't know how to help Luo Weibing, and was so anxious that her eyes turned red. The media mistakenly thought that she had been harassed by Luo Weibing like those actresses, so her eyes turned red as soon as she heard his name. Her fans also followed up with a bunch of photos and videos of her and Luo Weibing appearing in public, and edited them to prove that she was a forced victim. When this report came out, not only was Wen Jingping not affected by Luo Weibing's negative news, but she also earned a wave of sympathy from passers-by. Were the facts really as written in the original novel? All of this was Wen Jingping's good intentions and bad things? Did she have no idea what Hua Xiaofeng did? Not necessarily. It was human nature not to publicly support Luo Weibing on the internet, but if the media deliberately distorted the facts and treated her as a victim, Wen Jingping couldn't restrain the attention of the media, but she could at least restrain her own fans, right? The fans were so organized to declare that she was a victim, so there must be a lot of people behind the scenes. Poor Luo Weibing was used and sucked dry. He was stepped on and became a stepping stone for others. Even his sister was suddenly unemployed because of him, and even violated many advertising contracts. He owed a lot of money, so she couldn't continue her treatment, and died not long after. Just because of a moment of kindness, his career was ruined, his reputation was ruined, and his only sister was dead. If he wasn't a fool, what was he? Yayan Yayan? Xia Juanxing's low voice successfully pulled Su Yiyan's attention back. He chose our company. Is it related to his sister? I heard from Ning Qirui's agent that Luo Weibing contacted him after seeing Ning Qirui's physical test reports. He said that he wanted to visit Ning Qirui in person. After Ning Qirui knew about it, he agreed to visit him. After seeing Ning Qirui with his own eyes and confirming that what he posted online was true, he asked him to introduce him to his attending doctor. Attending doctor? Su Yiyan laughed. When did she become Ning Qirui's attending doctor? During this period, although she went to poke him once every few days, the Ning family specially hired another family doctor to help with the follow-up care and recovery work. The fact that Ning Qirui could eat as much as he did now was not all thanks to her alone. Luo Weibing seems to have shown Ning Qirui's medical records to other doctors. They all said that it was a miracle that he could recover so quickly. So he thinks that the person who can cure Ning Qirui must have some skills. Yeah. What did Ning Qirui say to him? He said. Xia Junxing rubbed his nose and found it a little funny. He said that this is a special benefit for employees of the company, and that he can't reveal it to outsiders. Su Yiyan was silent for a while before she asked faintly, "Don't you think that the employees nowadays are very greedy?" Xia Junxing looked at her blankly. He didn't quite understand what she meant. As a boss, not only do I have to care about their future career, but I also have to be responsible for their health. Do you think it's easy for me? Xia Junxing. Cough. Xia Junxing suppressed the unconsciously raised corners of his mouth and asked in a low voice. Then Luo Weibing. Let's arrange a time for a meeting. If he's really a talent, it's okay to take him in. She always had some subtle sympathy for those who were miserably harmed by Wen Jingping, especially the innocent child, who was still so young. Chapter 353. Yi Qiliang quickly sent a message back. For the time being, Su Yiyan would be teaching them on Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons. Now that the schedule was settled, the only problem left was the remuneration. Even if the teachers were interns, they would still receive a salary or even a subsidy. For someone like Su Yiyan, who was specially invited, she could not be treated as a temporary teacher. Yi Qiliang even felt that even if he paid Su Yiyan based on his standards, it would not be worth 1/1,000,000th of the knowledge she would teach the students. Su Yiyan seemed to see his dilemma, so she took the initiative to say, in terms of remuneration, you can just compare it to the substitute teachers in your school. How can that be? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a serious teacher, and I don't plan to be a teacher for a long time. When Yi Qiliang asked her if teachers like him could also sit in on the class, Su Yiyan thought about it. After all, she was not a serious teacher. She definitely did not have the experience of teaching and educating people. After she taught this group of people, they would be able to personally teach the basic knowledge to others. Moreover, you've already helped me a lot by helping me get that special medical license. Su Yiyan's medical practice was different from other medical systems. She could not get a normal medical license. It was Yi Qiliang who used his connections to help her get a special medical license. Yi Qiliang still felt a little guilty when he heard her say that. Su Yiyan also noticed this and smiled faintly. You don't have to feel burdened. I agreed to teach these things because if these things are really in my hands and I can't teach them to others, they will be lost again in 100 years, just like many things before. It's a good thing that people are willing to learn, but what they learn in the end depends on them. Of course. By the way, I have to accompany my husband home this week. This class will start next week. It just so happens that you have time to make arrangements for the students. Okay. Su Yiyan had said in advance that she would be bringing Hua Chenhuan home. So the whole family woke up early in the morning to wait. Cheng Xiuqin had been pacing around the kitchen door since early in the morning. Together with Qin Xueru, he watched Aunt Li cook Su Yiyan's favorite dishes. Mr. Su looked at his wife who was standing at the entrance of the kitchen and frowned. So what if she's back? Isn't it natural for her to go back to her own home? With such a big fuss, the people outside might think that she won't come back after getting married. Su Yuxuan also chimed in sourly, that's right. You should have just said it. Why are you still blocking the door? You can't even help. Aren't you just adding to the trouble? As soon as he finished speaking, Cheng Xiuqin looked over and snorted coldly. Don't think that I didn't hear you. Who was the one who said that I was so excited that I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night, and almost fell down the stairs when I woke up to go to the bathroom? Cough, cough, cough. Su Yuxuan coughed guiltily and turned his face away. Mr. Su instantly looked at him with disdain. This kid was still too inexperienced. How could he drop the ball at such a crucial time? Cheng Xiuqin sneered when he saw this. What are you looking at? You're the same. You're holding the newspaper upside down. Do you think that I'm short-sighted and can't tell? Mr. Su, who had been silently looking down. Chapter 354. The Su family was busy preparing for the arrival of Su Yiyan and the new son-in-law. Hua Chenhuan, on the other hand, was inexplicably nervous after getting out of the car. What's wrong? Su Yiyan held Hua Chenhuan's hand. Feeling the sweat on her palm, he couldn't help but be surprised. Nervous? Yes. It's not the first time you've seen them. Why are you still so nervous? I didn't see you this nervous when we came here before. It's different. Su Yiyan raised his eyebrows. How is it different? Previously he was just my fiancé. Now he's my husband. With a different identity, her state of mind was naturally different when facing these people. Then you don't have to be nervous. We're a real family now. They won't make things difficult for you. Su Yiyan could actually understand Hua Chenhuan's feelings. Before they got married, Her family wasn't technically his family. Now that they were married, her family was Hua Chenhuan's family. After her parents passed away, Hua Chenhuan actually didn't have a real family anymore. To have a family again, and a family of elders at that, Hua Chenhuan needed a buffer. With me and Dundun here, we'll protect you. As Su Yiyan spoke, he picked up Dundun, who had just gotten out of the car and was about to rush home, and stuffed it into Hua Chenhuan's arms. Dundun, who was caught off guard by the back of its neck, was confused. What are you doing? You can talk about things, but you can't throw me around like an object. I have a temper too. Su Yiyan's comforting seemed to have some effect. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have calmed down a lot. Of course, it was only on the surface. The two people and the dog had just walked into the courtyard. Cheng Xiuqin's people, who saw them from afar, all fell silent. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became subtle. Even Dundun, who was in Hua Chenhuan's arms, subconsciously widened his eyes filled with confusion. In the end, Su Yiyan was the first to break the silence. She said helplessly, "Dad, Mom, why are you standing there like idiots? I've only been away for a few days and you can't recognize me?" Only then did they wake up from their dream. Cheng Xiuqin snorted coldly. "I think you're the one who forgot about us. You've been married for so long, but you don't even know to call home and go home to take a look. You really forget your mother when you have a husband." Mr. Su hurriedly chimed in. She also forgot about Dad. Su Yiyan. Cheng Xiuqin. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. She took the initiative to step forward and intimately held Cheng Xiuqin's hand. She couldn't help but laugh. "I've been too busy recently, haven't I?" "Busy? What busy?" "You." Cheng Xiuqin suddenly remembered that Su Yiyan still had a company and a restaurant. He suddenly felt a little distressed. "If I had known that you wanted to open a restaurant, I wouldn't have given you that entertainment company." "How can you not be busy now that you've been running back and forth between the two places? Look, you've lost so much weight in just a few days." Before Su Yiyan could say anything, Hua Chenhuan followed up and said, "It's my fault. I didn't take good care of her." Hua Chenhuan's straightforward apology made Cheng Xiuqin choke. Su Yiyan was worried that the atmosphere would become cold again. She hurriedly said, "Actually, it's not that bad. I was busy before because the restaurant had just opened, and everything wasn't on the right track. I also just took over the company, so it was inevitable that there were more things to do. Now that most of these problems have been solved, and the new restaurant is gradually getting on the right track, I don't need to be there to help anymore. It saved me a lot of trouble, and I'm not as busy as before." Chapter 355. It's good that you know what you're doing. Dad and Mom don't expect you to have a big career or earn a lot of money. We just want you to be safe and happy. Don't tire yourself out. Our two families can't afford to raise you alone, right? Cheng Xiuqin originally wanted to say our family, but when he thought about how Su Yiyan was already married and could be considered part of the family Hua, he changed it to two families. "I know." Su Yiyan immediately noticed the pause and complained with a smile. "He said it, and you said it too. I've been hearing these words for the past few days." When he heard Su Yiyan say that Hua Chenhuan also cared about her health and didn't want her to be too tired, Cheng Xiuqin's expression became much better. He snorted coldly and said, "You're not happy that we care about you? We've spoiled you too much." All right. Yin Yan specially brought Chenhuan over for dinner. We'll talk about these things later. Let's eat first." Qin Shueru saw that they were almost done talking, so she quickly went up to smooth things over. When Su Yiyan heard her speak, she quickly went over and said with a smile, "Auntie, how have you been feeling recently? Have you eaten the medicinal cuisine? I asked the medicinal cuisine restaurant to send you on time?" The baby in Qin Shueru's stomach was already more than 3 months old. Her stomach wasn't very obvious yet, but there were obvious symptoms of morning sickness. Qin Shueru held Su Yiyan's hand and smiled slightly. Yes. A few days ago, my stomach was very nauseous. Thanks to the medicinal cuisine your restaurant sent over, I was able to eat some of it. I'm much better now." Qin Shueru pulled Su Yiyan to sit at the dining table. Father Su and the others also sat down. Cheng Xiuqin took the opportunity to run into the small kitchen and urged them to serve the dishes that were prepared first. Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan's harmonious appearance with her family and smiled slightly. She also turned her wheelchair and sat beside her. Although Su Yiyan wasn't at home during this period, she sent them a lot of rare ingredients one after another. Aunt Li learned from Su Yiyan for a while in the early days. Later, she found Su Yiyan's live broadcast room to practice a few times. Although the dishes weren't as good as Su Yiyan's, they were much better than before. As a result, the Su and the others would come home on time to eat unless they really had something urgent and had to work. Considering that there were more people at home today, Aunt Li not only made a lot of dishes, but also a lot of different flavors. However, most of them were pickled vegetables and spicy dishes. Su Yiyan was sitting next to Qin Shueru. She could not help but laugh when she saw Qin Shueru's chopsticks reaching for the sour dishes. People say that sour children are born while spicy daughters are born. Auntie's baby is most likely going to be a chubby boy. Cheng Xiuqin heard her and laughed. I think so too. Xiaoru likes to eat sour food recently. It must be a fat boy. Qin Shueru blushed slightly and smiled. She didn't say anything. Did Auntie and Uncle discuss whether you like a boy or a girl? Qin Shueru was a little embarrassed. She smiled and said, Your uncle said that a boy or a girl is good. What about you? Do you like a boy or a girl? Qin Shueru was silent for a moment and said softly, I also think that a boy or a girl isn't important. It's good either way. For her, who might not have a child of her own in this lifetime, having this child was already a great blessing. Why would she care about the boy or girl? Thinking of this, Qin Shueru turned to look at Su Yiyan and smiled faintly. But if I really have to choose one, I might want a daughter as obedient and sensible as Yan Yan. Chapter 356. When Qin Shueru said this, everyone present was stunned. Unexpectedly, the first to break the silence was Su Yuanyuan's father. He raised his head and looked at his son, then looked at his precious daughter. He nodded solemnly and said, Yes, girls are good. Su Yuxuan, who was shot even though he was lying down. Wait, if you want to talk about your daughter, then talk about your daughter. Why are you looking at me? Don't think I didn't see the disdain in your eyes. When Cheng Xiuqin heard Su Yuxuan's father's words, he also nodded and said, Girls are better. You can give her pretty dresses, braid her hair, and take her shopping. Cheng Xiuqin sighed and changed his tone. Yan Yan has always been a considerate little girl. She's obedient and sensible. Her father and I never worry about her. She's not like a certain bastard. He was born like a frisky monkey, crying all day long. He was only 5 or 6 years old, but he was already jumping up and down, causing trouble for me everywhere. His father and I were so angry that we wanted to kick him out of the house a few times. I'd rather have a wooden club than him. The drumstick that Su Yuxuan picked up with great difficulty fell into his bowl with a plop sound. He looked like he had nothing to live for. As expected, he was adopted. Although he was a little annoying when he was young. Wasn't that because he was young and immature? Who didn't have a Chinibu period? It was too much to bring up old scores. Su Yiyan was amused by her brother's hopeless expression. Suddenly, her hand was held. She was stunned. She turned her head and met Hua Chenhuan's smiling eyes. Su Yiyan's lips curled up. She couldn't be bothered to laugh at her brother anymore. She picked up the serving chopsticks and put some food in Hua Chenhuan's bowl. Aunt Li's cooking is pretty good. She made a lot of your favorite spicy dishes today. Eat more. Okay. Su Yiyan's words seemed to have accidentally poked Su Yuxuan and the other sore spot. Their expressions instantly changed and they said awkwardly, It's not specially made for you. We like it too. His words sounded like he was trying to hide 300 tails. Hua Chenhuan originally thought that Su Yiyan's words were just to comfort her. Now that she heard Su Yuxuan's words, she was a little uncertain. Could it be that these dishes were specially made for him? The atmosphere at the table suddenly became subtle. Cheng Xiuqin was not as awkward as the father and son. He coughed lightly and took the initiative to pick up a crayfish for Hua Chenhuan. Now that you're married to Yin Yan, our home is your home. Don't be too restrained and eat more. Hua Chenhuan looked at the prawns in her bowl, and suddenly understood the meaning of Su Yiyan's words before entering the house. In fact, he was not the only one. Cheng Xiuqin and the others were also trying their best to adapt to the addition of another family member. They might be arrogant and clumsy, but they were really trying to accept him and care for him in their unique way. With this thought, Hua Chenhuan picked up the crayfish with her chopsticks. Her eyes were filled with gentleness and warmth. Father Su. Humph. My wife is putting food in my son-in-law's bowl, but she's not putting food in my bowl. Su Yuxuan. Humph. Even the latecomer has people putting food in his bowl, but no one cares about me. Who is her biological son? Su Yiyan saw the dissatisfaction in the two's eyes. Her eyebrows slightly curved, and she hurriedly put some food in each of their bowls. Dad, brother, you guys should eat more too. The father and son were stunned. They looked at the food in their bowls and instantly beamed with joy. They happily ate the food. How could they still remember their dissatisfaction from being ignored? Chapter 357. Cheng Xiuqin looked at the father and son who were bought over by a few chopsticks of food. He was angry and amused at the same time. He cursed in his heart. Useless. During the meal, other than the occasional fight for favor, there was no other trouble. Moreover, because Hua Chenhuan deliberately avoided her, she became the most favored person at the dinner table. As a result, the other two men who were frequently ignored were full of resentment. However, it was also because of this that the subtle estrangement between them and Hua Chenhuan dissipated a lot. Hua Chenhuan quite liked the atmosphere in the Su family. There was a sense of liveliness amidst the noise, unlike the family Hua, which was lifeless. Even eating a meal felt like torture. After lunch, the elders impatiently pulled the two of them aside and questioned them in detail about their married life. Hua Chenhuan cooperated and said whatever was on her mind. Su Yiyan was a little embarrassed. She gulped down water and did not say anything. She only nodded and shook her head when asked. After enduring the elders' bombardment with great difficulty, Su Yiyan hurriedly took Hua Chenhuan and wanted to escape. However, she was stopped by Qin Xueru. Yin Yan, the baby is already more than 3 months old. You want to go back? Qin Xueru nodded. Cheng Juanhao and Old Master Cheng had asked her to stay when they went back. On one hand, they were worried that it was not safe for her to run around when she was just pregnant. On the other hand, there were some things in the Cheng family that had not been resolved. It was not peaceful. She was afraid that she would not be able to take care of the baby if she went back. On the other hand, they hoped that she would stay. Su Yiyan could help her recuperate more so that she would suffer less when she gave birth to the baby. Now that the Cheng family had basically stabilized, her baby was already more than 3 months old. The checkup showed that everything was fine. Although everyone in the Su family treated her well, it was not her own family. Moreover, the person she missed the most was not here. Qin Xueru could not help but feel a little. Su Yiyan naturally understood this. Other than wanting to see her family, she also wanted to see how Qin Xueru was doing. Since there were no problems, she could indeed go back. After all, they were not what she needed the most at this time. Okay, I've seen the test report. The baby is fine. There's nothing wrong with your body. If you want to go back, tell uncle first and let him arrange for someone to pick you up. Qin Xueru heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, she had a kind of blind trust in Su Yiyan. Even if she had gone through a checkup, she still wanted to get Su Yiyan's approval before she could be completely at ease. Rest well. In a few months, we'll visit you together. By then, Hua Chenhuan would probably be able to stand up. Yes. After the two of them bade farewell to Qin Xueru, they prepared to go home. Just as they got into the car, Su Yiyan hurriedly said, "My mom and the others aren't usually so long-winded. It's just that they haven't seen me for a while, so they were worried and asked a few more questions. Thank you for your hard work today." Hua Chenhuan shook her head and held Su Yiyen's hand. They're fine. Even if Su Yiyen was married, in their eyes, she was still their most beloved sister-daughter. They cared about her warmly. Perhaps it was because of such a family atmosphere that they could raise such a good person like Su Yiyen. And now she was his. Su Yiyen was about to say something when her phone suddenly rang. She looked down and was shocked by the text message. Why is there so much money in my account all of a sudden? Su Yiyen repeatedly confirmed the string of zeros on the text message. Just as she was about to call to ask, she was stopped by the person beside her. Yes. Hua Chenhuan looked straight into her eyes with a smile in his eyes. I'm handing in my salary. Chapter 358. What? Su Yiyen's eyes widened. She didn't know how to react. Some of the companies that were transferred to you before were profitable and had dividends. Now that Hua Chenhuan mentioned it, Su Yiyen remembered that Hua Chenhuan had transferred many companies to her when they got married. Su Yiyen didn't pay much attention to it at the time, but she didn't expect. But this is too much, isn't it? Although the Su family wasn't as big as the family Hua, they were still considered a wealthy family. Although her brother and father were in charge of her family's companies, they had never given her less dividends. Su Yiyen thought that her family had given her enough dividends, but now that she saw the amount that Hua Chenhuan handed in, she realized that it paled in comparison. What do those companies of yours do? How did you? Su Yiyen lowered her head and looked at the long string of zeros. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this amount was enough to buy a company or a shopping mall. Didn't you notice it before? Su Yiyen's mouth twitched. She thought to herself, at that time, I didn't think that what's yours is mine, and what's mine is yours. There's no difference, so there's no need to make such a clear distinction. She didn't pay much attention to it, but who would have thought? Most of the companies on the market are managed by Xiaoyang and the others, but they're in charge of different things. Xian is in charge of the development of virtual simulators. Virtual simulators? Why did this term sound so familiar? Let me give you a simple example. The smell and taste simulators used by online streamers were developed by their company. Su Yiyen was shocked when she heard that. Those things were developed by your company. It's your company now, Hua Chenhuan corrected her and continued. In addition, there are other similar simulators. These simulators have been used on various websites, and each website has to pay you a patent fee every month. Su Yiyen's face stiffened. So this is the patent fee? The patent fee and a portion of the revenue. Hua Chenhuan thought for a moment and added, there should be more next month. More? Su Yiyen almost choked on his own breath. This was already more than enough. How much more could he get next month? Is there a special project next month? You just said that Xian is in charge of the virtual simulator development. Then Xiaoyang and Yanbai. Xiaoyang is responsible for the development of holographic games. A holographic game? Su Yiyen narrowed her eyes. Is it the holographic game that I'm thinking of? Although she was not a fan of games, she had seen some sci-fi games and sci-fi movies. Naturally, she knew the difference between this so-called holographic game and ordinary games. That should be right. Then you just said that there will be more next month. Could it be? Hua Chenhuan didn't hide anything. The technology for the holographic game has matured. After internal testing this month, it will be officially released at the beginning of next month. First, there were all kinds of virtual simulators, and then there were holographic games. What kind of godly husband did she marry? As if this wasn't exciting enough, Hua Chenhuan's eyelashes trembled slightly. He whispered, this holographic game will be named after both of our names. The company is now under your name, and all future revenue will be handed over to you. Su Yiyen was a little dizzy from this huge pie. Exciting. Chapter 359. What are our names? Su Yiyen finally woke up from the trance of getting rich overnight and asked, who came up with it? Hua Chenhuan's expression was a little subtle. He turned his face and said, Xiaoyang's suggestion. Su Yiyan glanced at him suspiciously. She felt that this matter was not so simple. Moreover, even if it was really Gu Xiaoyang's suggestion, how could the final name of the game be decided so hastily without the approval of the boss? Thinking of this, Su Yiyan couldn't help but have a little more sweetness and banter in her eyes. Hua Chenhuan's ears were burning red. Are you interested in this game? Su Yiyan nodded. Quite interested. When the game is tested, I'll ask them to send 2 over for you to play. 2. Do you want to play with me? Hua Chenhuan was silent. Su Yiyan rolled her eyes and smiled slightly. If you play with me, I'll play. Otherwise, it's boring to play alone. Hua Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyan for a while and compromised. Okay. Su Yiyan smiled like a flower. Then, she seemed to think of something and asked curiously. You just said that the 3 of them are responsible for different projects. Xiaoyang and Xian have already said that. What about Yanbai? What is he responsible for? He's responsible for robots. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. Robots. Are they those intelligent robots? What are their main functions? Can they play with children and do housework? Yes, bionic robots. They can basically do everything that humans can do. Some things that humans can't do, they can also do. Yanbai's main direction of development is protective robots. Protective robots. Yes, robots that can protect their owners. Su Yiyan was stunned. She subconsciously glanced at Hua Chenhuan. This robot that could protect its owner, could the original intention of the design be related to him? Hua Chenhuan didn't notice her strangeness and explained. This function is still under development. It's not mature yet. Yanbai has a few of the robots with basic functions you just mentioned. If you're interested, you can ask him to send 1 over to play. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up slightly, but she was somewhat worried. That's not good, is it? Although it was a semi-finished robot, it was a trade secret. Was it really okay to take it home to play? As if seeing Su Yiyan's in her mind, Hua Chenhuan touched her head and comforted her. It's okay. This kind of technology is very basic. Yanbai and the habit of locking the core technology during their research. If someone outside of the research labs people trying to decipher or dismantle it violently, the internal chip self-destructing it. Su Yiyan was a little surprised and curious. She looked at Hua Chenhuan like a puppy asking its owner for a bone. Hua Chenhuan couldn't resist her attack and said helplessly, I'll ask him to send the robot over tomorrow. Su Yiyan cheered. She felt that she was really the happiest person in the world. Not only was her husband rich, but he was also capable. Not only could he afford to raise her, but he could also let her try out all kinds of novel toys. These were all rare things that couldn't be bought with money. Most importantly, as a big boss with high-tech technology in his hands, her husband was completely different from those programmers. He wasn't bald. The programmers who were bald for their careers. Chapter 360. Su Yiyan was excited all the way, but she only calmed down a little when she returned to the old house. She glanced at Hua Chenhuan's thick hair, and felt that she needed to take precautions. Hua Chenhuan. Therefore, the bald fans in the live broadcast room who had been observing for a long time finally saw the light. I went out with my husband today, so I came back a little late. Without further ado, let's talk about the medicinal cuisine we're going to make tonight. The medicinal cuisine we're going to make today is mainly for hair growth and hair loss prevention. We did this once before during the live broadcast. However, we only made one dish, showu liver slice. Many comments in the live broadcast room said that although it was effective, it was inevitably a little monotonous after eating too much. Moreover, different conditions lead to hair loss, so eating only showu liver slice is not necessarily the right way to treat the hair loss. Su Yiyan paused and coughed lightly. It just so happens that my husband has been staying up late recently to earn money to support the family. I'm also a little worried about his hairline. Therefore, today we're going to make a special live broadcast of hair growth and hair loss prevention. It's convenient for me, And it's also satisfying the wishes of the bald fans who stay up late. It's killing two birds with one stone. Hua Chenhuan, who had just entered the live broadcast room when she found that her hairline had been mentioned. Nearly 1/3 of the bald fans in the live broadcast room. Rows of ellipses quickly brushed across the screen, showing how speechless everyone was. A few seconds later, someone finally broke the awkward silence and started to cry and wail. Oh my God! When I heard that the host was going to start broadcasting, I rushed over as fast as I could, afraid that I would miss the beginning. Who would have thought that I would be forced to eat dog food in front of me? The host successfully suppressed my emotions. I seriously suspect that the last reason is the main point, and us poor single farmers are just incidental. Okay, if it's not incidental, then is it specially made for you? Wake up. The host's exceptions are only made for her husband. Damn it, I also want a virtuous wife. Single dogs are crying tears of jealousy. Seeing that the host is going to broadcast hair growth and hair loss prevention medicinal cuisine, the bald fans burst into tears on the spot, thinking that spring has arrived for the bald fans. But when I read the second half of the sentence, I forced my tears back. Alright, after all this time, it's not the balding gang's spring, but the streamer's spring. Is the host's husband also a programmer? I can't afford to offend the baldies who work late into the night every day, sob. The host's husband is working hard to earn money to support the family. The host is working hard to live stream to support her husband. I'm jealous. It's another day of crying for someone else's love. Su Yiyan did not pay attention to the wailing of the actors. First, he took out medicinal herbs such as Gastrodia elata, Poria cocos and Chuanqiong, and soaked them in water. Then, he cracked the bones of the lamb, dipped the mutton in water, and fished it out for later use. There are two types of hair loss. One is that the hair is dry and falls off in patches. The other is that the hair is oily and the hair follicles fall off. In addition, there are also some early white hair phenomena, which is commonly known as young white hair. In fact, it is also related to the lack of nutrition in the hair. The first medicinal cuisine we're going to make today is black chicken soup with Chinese yam and cooked ground. It mainly uses Chinese yam, cooked ground, plantain seed, poria, and other medicinal herbs, as well as black chicken legs. This soup has the effect of curing hair loss, nourishing the kidney and nourishing the blood. It also has a very significant effect on the first condition mentioned just now. Chapter 361. As Su Yiyan spoke, she dipped the black chicken leg in water and put it into the casserole pot. Then, she added a pile of medicinal herbs and boiled them with water before lowering the heat to a simmer. Taking advantage of this gap, she grabbed a prepared carp. After cutting it a few times, she stuffed the previously soaked filling and Chuanqiong into the belly of the fish. The fish I'm making now is called Gastrodia elata carp. The medicinal herb Gastrodia elata needs to be soaked for a few hours in advance to completely soften it. After that, it needs to be steamed before it can be used. Otherwise, there is no way to integrate the medicinal properties into the fish. As Su Yiyan spoke, she put the Gastrodia elata on the drawer to steam. Today, she opened the live broadcast book on a whim. She didn't have time to gather the ingredients immediately. Fortunately, the medicinal herbs planted on the farm could be in a dry or wet state before harvesting. When she took out the Gastrodia elata, it was already in a wet state, which saved her a lot of trouble. After the Gastrodia elata was cooked, Su Yiyan stuffed it into the knife and the belly of the fish. Then, she steamed it with scallions and ginger on the drawer. The third dish is lambone porridge. The cooking method is relatively simple. I've just dipped the lamb and lamb bones in water. Just cut them and put them in. The main point is this medicine bag. Su Yiyan took out a small medicine bag and put it in front of the camera so that the audience could see it. This medicine bag contains cooked ground, Chinese yam, daughter, walnut kernel, and more than a dozen other medicinal herbs. The ingredients are relatively complex. The dosage is also prepared in advance. Considering that everyone might not be familiar with these things, and that it would be troublesome to make them yourself, I will ask the people in the restaurant to help me make them and pack them up. If you want to bring them back, you can buy them from the restaurant when the time comes. In addition, after today's live broadcast, I will draw a few lucky audience members to give it away. When the audience in the live broadcast room heard that there were more than a dozen medicinal herbs in the small bag, many of them who were not in the same city as Su Yiyan, who originally wanted to steal it and get someone to buy it back to try it for themselves, could not help but want to retreat. Then they heard that Su Yiyan would make these small bags and sell them directly. She would also draw a lottery to give them away. In an instant they became spirited again. Host, please take care of me. I pray that you will draw me. Immortal host, as long as I buy this small bag, I can try to cook porridge myself. I'll buy it tomorrow. I hope it's not too expensive. The price of the streamer's shop is very reasonable. What you should be worried about is not the price, but whether there will be too many people fighting for it tomorrow. When Su Yiyan saw their messages, he smiled and threw the medicine packets into the pot to boil the soup. He smiled and said, "Don't worry about the price. It's still the same as before. We'll strive to make it affordable for most people." Su Yiyan could not guarantee that everyone could afford it, but it was still possible for most people to try it once in a while. The essence of the lamb bones needed to be stewed for a period of time, before it could flow into the soup. Su Yiyan took advantage of this time to boil an egg with the Chinese knotweed. Then she made a dessert, sesame kelp cake. The white sesame seed contains many nutrients that the human body needs. It can prevent our hair from turning white and falling off prematurely. Su Yiyan put the clean and dry white sesame seeds into the pot and stir-fried them until they were fragrant. Then, she ground them into powder and added them together with the kelp powder into the starch to make a dough and steamed it in the pot. At this time, the lamb bone soup was almost done. She fished out the small bag of medicine and added the washed rice into the pot. Then she stir-fried a large spoonful of seasoning oil and poured it over the steamed carp. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.